Good evening. Welcome to the City of Boynton Beach City Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. The time is now 6 p.m. We will now turn to the city clerk for roll call.
Mayor Shelton,
Present.
Vice Mayor Hay,
Present.
Commissioner Cruz is absent. Commissioner Turkin,
Present.
Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Maylee. Our invocation tonight will be by Vice Mayor Hay, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Turkin. Let's all stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts and thanking you for another opportunity to serve this great city of Boynton Beach. We acknowledge your presence. We acknowledge your wisdom, justice, and mercy as we ask for your presence in this meeting here tonight. Be in the center of every decision that we make. Lord, bless our city leaders with discernment, patience, and integrity as we make decisions that impact our community. Let our decision be guided by fairness and unity and a shared commitment to the well-being of all our residents. Grant us wisdom to seek the best for every neighborhood, every family, and every individual in this great city. We also lift up those who serve our community, our first responders, our educators, business owners, and all who make Boynton Beach a thriving and compassionate place to live. May your presence rest upon our city, and may we work together in harmony and respect. Lord, let justice, kindness, and humility be the foundation of all of our work here tonight. We ask all of this in the mighty name of Jesus the Christ. We do pray and ask it all. Let every heart say, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We are now moving on to the agenda approval, additions, deletions, and corrections. Let's begin to the left with Commissioner Turkin, if you have any additional deletions or
Thank
corrections.
you, Mayor. The only thing is just a refresh from our agenda workshop in regards to the joint meeting with the CRA. The city attorney advised that I bring this up again in this forum, along with the code overhaul. And then I do have a couple update requests from staff regarding the town square investigation. I'd like to know where we're at with that and when that's going to come before us. And then also where we're at in compliance with the state government in reference to 287G. I think we need to get in compliance with that. Last thing we want is to lose any state or federal funding for grants. And so, I want to make sure that we're getting ahead of this. The other thing is NLC, the conference, the annual conference in November. I just want to get a consensus from my colleagues that we can start booking that registration. I think early bird is in May, so I want to make sure that we're not waiting too late for those who want to go. And then I just want to say thank you to Andrew and Adam for meeting with the Save Andrews Committee today with Tim. Yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the lead on that and bringing everyone to the table. That way there's no loss in communication. Thank you. Thank
you. And Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you. Commissioner Turkin, I support all of the things that you said. So I don't know if staff has enough information to put that on, or if we need to get a consensus as far as what the items are that you're wanting to add to future. It looks like Shauna has a question.
With regard to today's agenda, the request for the joint meeting is on the agenda, the regular agenda, as F. I'm working with the police chief on the mutual aid agreement, and we should have an update on that at the next commission meeting on April 15th. I'm sorry, with regard to the town square, unfortunately, we've had to delay coming out with the report because we still are in litigation with them, and we just had our 6th motion to dismiss with E2L, correct? They appealed the final order of dismissal. So at this time, we're having to wait before Pam can come. Pam is done, but we need to hold that right now because of the pending litigation. Was there another item, I'm sorry, Commissioner Turkin, that you had, that I didn't address?
No, just the joint.
Yeah, that's on today's agenda. Okay, thank you. If there's anything else, I believe. Thank you.
It's on today's agenda?
It is, it's numbered F on the regular agenda.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect. Okay. And then you wanted to talk about NLC. Do you want to talk about that today, or do we need to talk about that on April 15th?
Yeah, I think it's a real quick conversation today. I know the early bird is in May, so I don't know what the next agenda looks like. I don't want to get inundated. So if you guys are okay with it, we can talk about it today. That way staff's prepared to move forward based on consensus.
So just add it to 10, maybe to 10G, make it 10G to have a discussion on, probably that, and FLC is probably, or, yeah, FLC is not a bad conversation to have too.
Yeah, thank you.
With those two conferences?
Yep.
Okay. The mayor, I would like to, because because Dr. Fuller is here from Boynton Beach High School, I wanted to see if we could move up 5F, which is my request for community support funds, to before public comment, maybe 3E, just so that, to not have him sit through most of the meeting. That would be my request, if it's okay with the rest of the board.
Fine with me?
No objection on my part.
Thank you. So then 3E will be the community support funds right before public audience. Okay, thank you. That was my only request. Thank you.
We're moving it before public audience. Okay. Vice Mayor Hay, do you have any additions, deletions, corrections?
No, most of the items that I was going to mention has been already addressed, except I do want to give kudos to our staff and especially our deputy city manager, Andrew Mack, for attending last night's community meeting. It was an awesome turnout, and there's a lot of interest in House Bill 991 and the Senate Bill 1224. These were, we spent a lot of time on that last night, and I'm interested, and we need to make sure we address that, and we will. I do want to say kudos to the other night, where was that, Friday night, Saturday, we had the marketing bath there in the park. That was tremendous. I didn't buy as much as the rest of the commissioners, but they did have a lot for sale, and there was some really good items. So that's all I have, other than what's already been mentioned.
Okay. If there's nothing else, may we have a motion to approve the
So
agenda?
move.
Okay, so Commissioner, Vice Mayor Hay,
Yeah.
you gave the first and you
I
gave the
vote.
second, okay.
Right.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
All- Aye.
I'm online.
Oh,
Oh, hello.
I was like, where is she?
Hello.
Okay.
Who was that?
It's Commissioner Cruz is online.
Oh, okay.
If we could just let the record reflect, Commissioner Cruz will be able to participate in discussion. However, she will not be able to vote today online, but she will be able to deliberate and do all of those things.
And she's allowed to add? delete?
Comment, all of
Okay.
those things, just not any formal votes.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Commissioner Cruz, do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections? We already did it.
I do not, Mayor, thank you.
So we're good. Okay, we don't have to do that one again. Okay, motion passed unanimously. We move on to informational items by the members of the city commissioner. Let's begin on the right with Vice Mayor Hay.
No, I just stated the activity that the CRA put on was outstanding, and the community meeting that we had. So that's it for me.
Okay.
Mayor, I do not have any informational items. Thank you.
Commissioner Turkin?
No, good, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, moving on. The next item is an update on the dredging project at Harvey Oyer Park. Is there a staff member that will begin the update? Andrew, you want to introduce? Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff, and members of the public. So today with us from Palm Beach County, we have Andy Studd. I imagine that's how you pronounce it? Stute. And he will be talking to us a little bit about the dredging project that should be taking part beginning hopefully later this month here. So he has some items that he'll be sharing with us up on the screens, as well as he can answer a couple questions for you guys too, if you have any. All right, wonderful.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I appreciate you having me here. I will try to be as brief as possible with this presentation, so I'll give some time for questions at the end. My name is Andy Stute. I manage the county's coastal resources program, so that's everything from beaches and inlets to dunes. The county manages a number of those projects directly. We also coordinate with other municipalities that manage their own projects. We also manage the South Lake Worth Inlet, as it's titled up there on your screen, also known as the Boynton Inlet. I'll defer to you folks and call it the Boynton Inlet for this evening. A critical resource here in South Central County, but critical for the county as well. The county took over management of this inlet in 1996 when the South Lake Worth Inlet District was dissolved by the governor. So ever since then, we've had a hand in everything to do with dredging, maintenance of the inlet structures, and the project south there of the Ocean Ridge Shore Protection Project. That photo up there gives a good description of exactly what this project's about. Do we have a presentation or just that?
Just this one here,
Okay.
fact sheet.
All right, I'm going off a presentation I gave last week to your Parks Advisory Committee. But just to give you a quick synopsis of what this project is about. The inlet is a unnatural inlet. It's a man-made inlet that has structures that interrupt the natural flow of sand from north to south along the coastline. Because of that interruption and impoundment of sand, every so often we have to go in the interior areas of the flood shoal, and you can see it up there on that aerial. The sand will be captured by the inlet and accrete in the flood shoal areas. That's a problem for navigation for the boats that want to use that area. It's a problem for the city's Oyer Park boat ramp. It's also a problem for downdrift beaches, including Boynton Beach Oceanfront Park and Ocean Ridge's beaches south of the inlet. So in order to correct that interruption that this inlet has, we do regular maintenance dredging. We also operate a sand transfer plant. It's very unique. It's the oldest one operating of its kind in the world, installed in 1937 originally. That continuously transfers sand across the inlet to try to mimic that natural flow, but we still can't capture all of it. So there's still sand that's captured in the interior shoal areas. So we dredge the interior shoal areas. We have a sand trap that's immediately adjacent to the inlet. We also typically, when we dredge that sand trap, we'll partner with the Florida Inland Navigation District that manages the Intracoastal Waterway, dredge their channel. And we'll also partner with the city, as we have the past couple times, to dredge the Oyer Park Channel to provide navigational access to the boat ramp, but it also returns that good beach sand back into the system rather than having a deficit long-term. As I mentioned, the last couple times we've done this project, we've combined forces and dredged with the county managing the contract and placing material from all of these separate areas on the beach south of the inlet. Each of those permitting processes were a one-time job. The regulators were only allowing us to do that once and then seek approval the next time. So this time around, we sought approval for a long-term permit. This time, we've got about a 15-year permit where we can go out multiple times within that time period and dredge as needed the city's channel and our sand trap. So look forward to being partners over the long term on this. The city was gracious enough to grant the county an easement in 2020 to access the beach through the Boynton Beach Oceanfront Park area. That is our primary beach access to get bulldozers and equipment on the beach. But this isn't that large dredge project that you'll see every 6 to 8 years that really widens the beach. This is more of a smaller project. We're adding, the bid volume was about 55,000 cubic yards, but our survey volumes indicate that's gone up. We should be dredging about 63,000 cubic yards from the interior shoal areas. We'll be adding it below the water line, but it'll add to the nearshore system and strengthen the beach over the near term. And then we're also planning a follow-on project this coming winter in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers to restore storm damages, where we'll be placing about 500,000 cubic yards from an offshore borrow source. That's the one that'll really widen the beach and protect us from future storm events, both for Boynton Beach Oceanfront Park and about a mile south of the inlet. So this project, I was struck last week talking to your Parks Advisory Committee and seeing your city logo and your America's Gateway to the Gulf Stream. It's obviously critical for the city to maintain access from the boat ramp directly out Boynton Inlet, but it's also critical for all the other stakeholders to facilitate this regular maintenance dredging. It's something that happens at inlets across Southeast Florida. When you have an inlet, even if it's natural, in order to get a boat out that inlet, you're going to have to dredge it occasionally. This inlet is largely maintained in the throat of the inlet by velocities of currents, but the adjacent area is still shoal. We've got some cross sections and a number of exhibits, but the bottom line is this is an important project for the region, and it involves close coordination with your staff because of the potential impacts to Oyer Park. We have discussed it with city staff, and it sounds like the best way forward is to close the boat ramp for a short period of time while we're dredging the western part of the Oyer Park boat channel. Basically, when we stick a dredge in that small channel area, it's not going to be safe to navigate around it. So the city will be coordinating temporary short-term closure of the ramp towards the end of this dredging project. That'll be the last component that we complete because it's the skinniest, narrowest area to get in with our dredge. We're looking at a timeline of happening that channel dredging for the Oyer Park area starting likely closer to the 21st of this month. We've been ballparking starting between the 14th and the 21st, but given the dredge startup just this morning, dredging the Intracoastal Waterway, we've got a couple weeks of dredging before we get to that city channel, and then we expect it shouldn't take more than 1 to 2 weeks tops. We're hopeful for a week or less dredging the city channel area, and then we'll have it cleared out for the next couple of years, presumably. It's a $1.9 million project as it sits now, and that's weather and conditions dependent. So we always have to be flexible with these, understanding that the conditions are very dynamic out there. I do want to just thank city staff. They've been fantastic to work with and helping us facilitate this. And obviously, the county is a willing partner and available to update you at any time throughout the course of this. I'll take any questions that you have. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Fabian, but that's the long and short of it. Last time the project was dredged was 2013. To give you an idea, it's been about 12 years. And prior to that was 2008 and then 2001. So it's conditions dependent. As we get sand in the inlet with various storms, it increases our need to dredge.
Any questions? Commissioner Turkin?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you again for the presentation. Fabian, Andrew, thanks for being on top of this. Couple questions with, so you said the last time this was dredged was 2013. How can we ensure we don't wait that long or hold each other accountable and make sure it doesn't take that long? You know, there's a lot of, and when I'm speaking in reference to Harvey Oyer Boat Ramp. There's a lot of recreational use there, but also a lot of commercial use, a lot of people's businesses that rely on that boat ramp, you know, that allow them to put food on the table for their families. So what can we do as a city or as a body, you know, or collaboratively with the county to ensure we don't have this large of a lapse again?
Certainly, and that's something that we kind of baked into this permitting process. I mentioned before that the last couple times we did this, the regulatory agencies only allowed us a one-time authorization to add the Oyer Park boat channel to this permit that we have. This time around, we included it for the longer term. So whether we're going to be out there again to dredge the sand trap on a more regular basis, or we can assign the permit to the city so you can facilitate your own dredging of that sand trap. Or that boat channel, sorry. Typically by state rule, that beach compatible material is required to go out to the beach, which is, you know, it makes more sense to do it with the larger project. But with that smaller western channel area, we have talked with the state, there would likely be an exemption if we were able to beneficially reuse it on a habitat restoration project in the lagoon. So we have thought about that. That's actually one of the things that lengthened this permitting process as well. We started in 2019, submitted permit apps in 2020. It took us a little over 3.5 years to get permits, partially because we were adding that long-term component, but mostly because with this dredging event, we added the western part of that Boyer Park channel that we know it's been dredged in the past. This boat ramp's been active for many decades, but we couldn't find a record of it with the Army Corps of Engineers or with the state. So since there wasn't a record, it had to be considered new dredging. We had to go through the mitigation process. Luckily, the county had some existing mitigation in place at our Bryant Park Restoration Project up in Lake Worth. We were able to use that, but mitigation is a cumbersome process. So it took a little bit longer than we'd like, but now we have that permit in place for a longer term. We've got the mitigation in place to dredge that western channel area that we haven't dredged in a number of decades. So we're hopeful that this project will work out and it'll be smoother in the long term.
Awesome, I appreciate that. The other thing is, so we have a firefighter fishing tournament with the local IAFF Benevolent on April 26th. And so I think they've already pulled permits with the city, and there's a lot of people registered. We plan on winning it again, I think, for the mystery fish. But, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, I think you mentioned you're starting the dredging project between the 14th and the 21st. Is that at the Oyer site, or is that just this project?
That will be the Oyer site.
Okay.
So we started the project late this morning. The dredge showed up on Saturday. They were delayed on the West Coast, so we would have hoped to have been, you know, wrapping up around this time, but they were delayed with storm events on the West Coast over the last season, additional dredge quantities. So they're starting a little bit later than anticipated. I would be hopeful that we'll be done by the 26th, but I can't provide any guarantees. And the issue is, you know, the time is now to get this project done. We can't quite stop. So we'll be in close coordination with your staff on timing. It's really going to take us a week or two to iron out what our production is and how we're going to back up into the end of the month in terms of dredging. I mentioned we have to dredge that Boyer Park channel component last because that's the skinniest component that we have to, we're actually having a separate smaller dredge brought in to sneak into that back area because it's so narrow. So, you know, long story short, I'm hopeful we can have it done by then. I can't promise, but we'll be in close coordination. Even if we can't, we'll talk with the contractor and see if there's a possibility of getting boats around the dredge. We just want to make sure that, you know, all the safety issues are accounted for and that the success of this very occasional long-term project isn't impacted. You know, the tough part about dredging is you're always impacting somebody. It's never a good time of year, and we always have to do it during winter to avoid sea turtle nesting season. So usually I'm getting phone calls on Christmas Eve about, why are you operating? We operate 24/7 because of the cost involved with the project, but I can't provide any guarantees on the 26th, but we'll do our best to work with the contractor and have it done by then. And we will keep your staff updated. Hopefully in the next week or two, we'll have a better idea.
Awesome, thank you. So I guess for staff, maybe we just keep that communication close with the unions and the Benevolent. That's all. Thank you so much for coming by and doing this. Thank you.
Certainly.
Any other questions?
No, Commissioner Turkin talked about it. I can't stress enough how, I mean, we know this project is super important. We know we really need this. I feel like I know in the back and behind the scenes, everyone knew what was going on, but I don't think that staff even knew of the potential calendar conflict until I brought it up Thursday. So I know this is a really important project. But I do wish that we had a little bit more coordination with, you know, making sure that, you know, it's not just a fishing tournament for our fire guys. This is one of their fundraisers that they do so that they can go out and do what they do in the community. And so I would be really, I just would be beside myself if we're the reasons why they would have to cancel or postpone their fishing tournament. So it's frustrating to me. I understand this is very important and it's much needed and it's been going on for a really long time. But because of that, there should have been a little bit better planning on the back end. So those are my frustrations. I'm glad to hear that it's happening and we do need it, and hopefully this will start a more scheduled, plan moving forward with this project, but those are my concerns, and I really want to make sure that staff is, we don't have the luxury in Boynton Beach of having some alternative place where we can have this fishing tournament. I mean, the Harvey Orr Park is our hub. It's our only little boat ramp that has access to the intercoastal. So am just asking staff to please, be mindful in talking about this on a daily basis so that, the men who have, and women who have spent the last year planning for this fishing tournament, that they're not finding out on April 26th or April 25th that they can't do what they've planned for an entire year. So imagine a county event, somebody's been planning it an entire year, and all of a sudden, some other county department comes in, swoops in, and says, oops, sorry, you can't. Sorry for all your time and effort. So it's frustrating to me to learn about this. I'm excited it's happening, it's needed, but it's frustrating. So those are my 2 cents. So I will yield at this point. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Hay?
Yes. Thank you, first of all, for coming by to give us the update. Just curious on some questions that, is there a particular depth and width that you're trying to maintain for the boats?
For the Orr Park channel?
Yeah, because I noticed there's some shrubbery out there. Are they going to continue to remain there, or are you going to have to remove those?
Any of the upland shrubbery will stay in place. This is solely in the water project, so there were some submerged aquatic vegetation, and that was part of the mitigation in order to dredge in those areas, and it was very sparse, but in order to dredge those areas, we have to replicate it before we can even go out and dredge, so that was the lengthy permitting component, but we won't be impacting any upland structures. It'll be very similar, just about the same as the last dredge project in 2013.
Good, good. Where's the dredge, the sand being relocated to? Where do you put that?
So the relocation point starts, I believe it's about 2,000 feet south of the inlet, below mean low water. So if you see the rock groins out there at Ocean Inlet Park that kind of maintain the stabilization of the beach immediately south of the inlet, it's about 2 to 3 times as far as that. So if you look at the inlet cam, you can see the bulldozer down there, but effectively it's north of Ocean Hammock Park, the county's park, and it's well north of Boynton Beach Oceanfront Park. We don't expect to place enough material to get in front of Boynton Beach Oceanfront Park, so it should have a very minimal impact on the city's park operations, other than we use the very northern part of that park property to access the beach.
Can any of that material be used for beach renourishment?
That's ostensibly what we're doing. This permit requires us, because of this material's been sitting or accumulating over 12 years, so it's had time to sort itself. So it's not quite perfect for beach placement where the turtles will use it directly, but we're putting it below mean low water, so it's going to be in that system. It's going to be added to the beach during natural processes, but we're not adding it directly to the dry beach. So that'll be that follow-on project next winter that we'll be doing with the Army Corps of Engineers that will place an order of magnitude more material, about 500,000 cubic yards.
Very good, thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Cruz, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. No, I don't. You guys asked them. I was worried about the event on the 26th, though.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
folks. I
much.
appreciate the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Okay, next is an announcement for pre-hurricane prep and vegetation amnesty week. Hurricane season begins June 1st, and the Solid Waste Division is urging residents to do their part by conducting tree trimming early in preparation for hurricane season. The city will be having Hurricane Vegetation Amnesty Week that runs May 5th to May 9th, 2025. Residents may place more than the 3 cubic yards of vegetation only out for pickup on their scheduled bulk day during that week. Fees will be waived during Amnesty Week only, and all guidelines must be followed for pickup. That's it? Okay. And moving on for the announcement for Art and Autism Expo. The City of Boynton Beach is partnering with FAU's Center for Autism and Related Disabilities for the 5th Annual Art and Autism Expo. where art will be displayed throughout April in the Arts and Cultural Center at 125 East Ocean Avenue. There will be a special gallery opening evening from 5 to 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, April 8th, during which attendees can see performances, meet artists, enjoy treats from the chocolate spectrum, and make candles with sensibility candles. The next item is presented for 2024 year-end crime report, and I believe Chief DeJulia will be presenting this.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Here to present the 2024 year-end crime report. In case you're wondering why are we in April and we're talking about year-end of 2024, as we wait, the FDLE is about 3 months behind to verify our crime data. So this is the verified information that we submit through what we call fibers and NIBRs, and it's FDLE confirmed. So it's usually about a quarter behind. So some of the highlights on our first slide. You'll see that in our violent crime section, we had a reduction of 14% of violent crime. One of the things I want to highlight is in our homicide category, not only did we have a reduction, we also had 100% clearance rates. And that's 2 years in a row that we've had 100% clearance rate on homicides. We also have a high level of clearance rates, which is above the national average on the ag assault and battery. You'll see in the sexual battery that we had 31 total, but we only had 2 arrests. So just some clarification on why the others are not arrests is that 6 have active warrants. We have 16 uncooperative, whether it's the refusal to prosecute or we had the victims just refusing to cooperate with detectives in the investigation. We have 4 cases still active, and we had 1 that was expired statute of limitations. If we move to the middle category, we'll see that we have a reduction of our property crime by 5%. And our clearance rate is 19% throughout all our categories on our property crime, which is above the clearance rate nationally for property crime. And it's just been a fantastic job when it comes to retail theft. I feel like a lot of other agencies don't necessarily are very proactive with retail theft, as we are here in Boynton, where we have about 35% clearance rate on our retail thefts. Sometimes when you are proactive and you make a lot of arrests, the crime rate will go out because you are self-reporting. But even still, we saw a reduction. I also think it's a really important, even though we're talking about retail theft, is by being out there and being available to our businesses, we're keeping them here in the city. They're not necessarily losing a lot when it comes to their thefts. So we've been keeping our businesses in place here. I know there's other cities and throughout the country that are not even proactive when it comes to it, not even filing complaints on it. So I feel like in Boynton we have a great relationship with our retail community, and you can see it by the cooperation we get from our LPOs and our officers that we've had 35% clearance rate. The last box is really more of an indication of the fact that you guys have supported the police department with the staffing. We have more officers out on the road doing more traffic stops, more FIRs, more arrests. We have more traffic. You'll see there's more citations when it comes to moving violations and non-movement violations. The one big number in there you'll see is the field interview reports. I'm sure you're wondering why we had such a large increase, 112% increase. That's a testament to the new RMS and CAD system, Mark 43. That was something that the commission supported us about 1.5 years ago, and it allows the office to be more efficient out there. And you'll see that that number will start to increase even as we go into the next year as well. And if you look, the last box is calls for service. We're averaging the same that we did last year. There was a slight reduction. We did have a new program last year called the Desk Officer Program that should reduce some of our calls for service and allow our offices to be available for more of the high priority calls. And as this system starts to run its paces, you'll see that probably next year we'll probably have a slight reduction as well. The advertised percentage reduction is about 20% of the calls that desk officer could be picking up, which is a great thing, is that these are like low profile, non-priority calls like a lost wallet or a lost passport, things that require case numbers to be replaced through insurance companies. We're not tying officers up anymore on those calls. They're able to do them online. It's very convenient also for our complainants as well. This is just another version of our calls for service. Unless there's a question, I'm going to skip to the next slide. As far as our violent crime, not only do we have a good year compared to last year, we also had a really great year compared to the past 5 years. We've seen the lowest of our crime instances in violent crime since 2020, with the exception of sexual battery, which has been the lowest it has been in 4 years. That's, once again, a testament to the hard work our detectives are doing, the fact that we have officers out there being more proactive. And then we'll go to the next slide, which is our nonviolent. I put a little footnote on there about what our percentage is as it relates to the national average when it comes to clearance rates. National average is 13.9%. We're at 19%. The one increase we did have is the burglaries. We can attribute that in the early part of the year, we had a prolific burglar who was a juvenile that was unfortunately getting released by the Juvenile Assessment Center back into our community, committing the crimes. And that individual was responsible for numerous burglaries, specifically auto burglaries. But our detectives had put numerous cases on that individual, and so far, I believe they're either they relocated or they're still in the assessment center, or they're serving some time in jail. And this is more of a snapshot of our proactive. We got a total arrests. You'll see there's an increase. The year before, from 2023 to 2024, we actually had an increase of over 800 more arrests. This year, we had an increase of 2%. Once again, it just shows that the officers are out there. They're being efficient. They're being effective. They're being proactive. They're being visible. And one last thing I just wanted to put out there. Just in the first quarter of this year, and you saw how great our numbers were from 2023 to 2024. Just in this first quarter of this year, we have a reduction of 20% violent crime and a 12% reduction in property crime. So we're still trending in the right direction. So.
Do you have any comments?
No, I think, thank you, Chief, and, thanks to the police department, this body. A few years ago, we developed a strategic plan, and the first priority was public safety. Here we are 3 years later, and here are the direct results of investing in our police department, investing in the safety of the city. I don't have too many questions. I do want to note the homing in. This is something that Adam had shared with me, had grand theft, like 5 years in a row, maybe even longer. And, for the first time, they didn't have a stolen car. Last 2 years, there hasn't been a homicide there. And prior to that, there was some form of violent crime. And that is a direct reflection of economic development and how, growing economically and public safety go hand in hand, right? And so I think partnering with the private sector and, that nuisance abatement program over there, I think, was a huge contributor to getting, a good player in. And, the proof is in the data, right? That used to be a hot spot of crime, as long as I've lived in the city and, probably decades before then. And, now you have a boutique, hotel developer there that they're almost finished with, and no homicides, right? So I think that's a story to tell, that as we grow effectively as the city, that we're proactive in investing in, our local economy and our police department, right? I think, for the first time in the city's history, we're fully staffed. We've filled our vacancies. We don't have any openings, and that's a testament from us here on the dais, our city staff, Chief DeGiulio, and every hardworking man and woman in that police department. So thank you guys so much. We're definitely trending in the right direction, and getting the services that we deserve as a city, and the safety, that's a right for everyone. So thank you.
I do have one question.
Yes.
When it comes to the sexual assaults and harassment, does the city have a relationship with ABDA, the Aid for Violence and
Yes.
Domestic Abuse,
Yeah.
or are they called in at the time and that's an opportunity for them to
It
get
is,
the help?
yes.
Okay.
We have a victim advocate, Barbie Rodriguez, and she's fantastic with coordinating especially when it comes to domestic violence and sexual assaults. They do a fantastic job also using the county resources as well.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Hay?
Yes, Chief DiGiulio, would you just comment on how had the community police engagement changed this year?
You want to know like the specific events or the specific initiatives, or as it relates to how we see crime?
Advocacy of crimes.
Well, I think one of the things, and I don't necessarily, we can't necessarily quantify it, but we do feel like when you do have the relationships, whether it's the cookout with a cop or a CRA policing unit, is that we're encouraging people to work with the police. We're encouraging people to report certain crimes. And I think that's the important part, understanding what our issues and our concerns are in the neighborhood. We can't do that without the outreach. Understanding what some of the issues may be in the community, like, you know, we have at some of our parks, one specifically, just hearing from the community, knowing what the needs. You know, we look at crime a lot of times through like the data lens, you know, and we're trying to put our resources where those specific crimes are happening. But we don't necessarily, if we don't hear from a community that we're having issues with speeding on this block or drug dealing on that block, because it's not being illuminated through crime stats, we wouldn't know that to hit those areas and to address those community needs. So without the outreach, we're just going to rely on data. We may not necessarily make our community feel safe because we're not addressing the needs that the community has. So I think the community policing outreach perspective, and whether it comes from our community response team, which was one of our new community teams we put together, which is a citywide. We have our CRA policing unit, which has the same philosophy. It's all quality of life, driven by community complaints, which is in the CRA district. And we do have our officers. We changed the way we patrol. We added more zones out there, so we didn't have large zones. We have smaller areas where we can do more patrolling. I just feel like those initiatives have allowed us to have, the better relationships and to hear what some of the community needs and concerns are.
Okay. Would you also comment, Chief, on how the residents can stay informed and involved in making Boynton Beach a safer place?
Well, I think, part of like I mentioned about the community outreach programs, is a lot of times, like we had coffee with a cop. It's a great opportunity for us to have those one-on-ones with community members. And when we do advertise these things, whether it's cookout with a cop, which we usually get a tremendous response from our community, those are the times where we can have those conversations, And we also have the desk officer program, which is an online service provider that you can submit your complaints on there, your tips. You want to register your bike on there. We have a lot of crime prevention tools if you want to enter into a trespass. So we're trying to be accessible to everybody in the community. And some people aren't, very tech savvy. So we do provide those opportunities when it comes to our crime prevention team going out there. And like I said, the events are really good because that's where we have that one place that we're going to be here, and we have this central location where we can meet people and exchange some of the concerns. And I feel like some of the great conversations we have with our community is at these events, especially Cookout with a Cop. I have probably the greatest conversations throughout the year during that event. I also think they feel the police, because it's a community event, people are more approachable and more willing to say that some of the things that they would not necessarily want to call the non-emergency or come to the police department. They see us out there out in the community, and we can have these real conversations.
Thank you, Chief.
Got it.
Thank you.
Mayor? Thank you. Thank you, Chief. I'm glad that you mentioned and brought to view the clearance rate. I think it's important that we highlight that, we know, crime happens everywhere, but when we can clear it and solve a case, I think that, it just shows how hard everyone is working as a team to really, push it forward. And you briefly just said one, but what are some initiatives that you're going to try and implement in the next year based on this data to try and even further, bridge that gap? Are there any new initiatives or new things that you're wanting to try and, make that even, our rates even better?
Are we talking about more from like the crime prevention perspective or from some of our crime tools like our real-time crime center? I think one of the biggest things that I feel that really helps reduce crime is the visibility of police officers. And I appreciate the commission's support over the past couple of years of getting the officers out there, and obviously our staff on recruiting. Right now, it's a difficult time to recruit and retain officers, and we do a fantastic job, you know, and you mentioned that, like, we are close to fully staffed. We always balance one or two here and there, but in my world, having one or two vacancies is essentially being fully staffed, and we do have people retiring, so it does change. That's the biggest thing is visibility and just being out there and being present. But you mentioned the clearance rates. I think the clearance rates are actually what stands out most on here, because as much as we like to say is we can do our best to prevent crime by being visible, a lot of times there's a lot of elements and circumstances that are outside of our control that crime does happen. So it's not exactly what actually happened. How do you respond to it? And seeing the clearance rates so high shows us that we are responding in the right way. We have the right tools in place and the right detectives and officers in place as well to address this and keep our communities safe.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, Chief, that I think even nationwide that has helped a lot of police departments is the kind of integration and utilizing Ring cameras and people's personal cameras. And I know, or I believe that, you know, that has really assisted our police department in some of that. How, is that a program that you're actively utilizing? And is there a way that residents who want to, you know, maybe, you know, want to assist, but maybe don't want to, you know, be that assisting, but, you know, can share that? I believe there's even a nationwide program, but do we have a citywide program where residents can participate in that and share that Ring data?
That's a great point, because I did miss that. That's kind of part of the Real-Time Crime Center, is having a camera registry program, which we do have. And we did change from a program called Command Central Aware that predated me, and then we had pivoted just recently over to Flock OS, and it has an element in there about registering cameras. So it gets twofold. You can register your camera where we have the ability, as long as it integrates with our RTCC, Real-Time Crime Center, where we can actually view it. The other part of it is just registering your camera. So when we do go out on a crime scene and we pull up the map, we can see whose house has a camera. It doesn't have to be a Ring camera, it could be any camera. And Ring is great too, because Ring, we can get access, as long as they sign the permissions, that we can get access to their footage. And we do have that relationship with Ring through crime prevention.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Cruz, do you have any comments online?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I do want to give thanks to the chief and the entire police department. I apologize, my voice isn't so great, so I'm just going to keep it a bit quiet.
Understand. Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you all for your support. If it wasn't for the personnel and the resources and the support of the city manager's office, you know, the results may be different. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
So now we are moving on to the community support funds.
Yes.
We have a request for community support funds from Commissioner Kelly to Operation Connor Share for $500. May we have a motion to approve this request?
So move.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Turkin moved to approve community support funds to Operation Connor Share from Commissioner Kelly in the amount of $500, and Vice Mayor Hayes seconded the motion, so the motion has passed unanimously. Next, we have a request for community support funds from Commissioner Kelly for $2,000 to the Boynton Beach Community High School for their Aerospace Science Academy summer competitions. May we have a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Second.
Pick
Good man.
Okay, so Turkin second, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I just go for a brief before we move on? So I wanted to just briefly, before I ask Dr. Fuller to come up, my community support funds were a little unique this month, but I did want to share. Operation Connor Share is a not-for-profit that was actually created by an 8-year-old boy. He's a resident of our city. He's now in college. But he started out Operation Connor Share when he was just a boy, and it became a homeless outreach. They would make Thanksgiving dinners. they and their friends and everything would gather the funds and the resources, and they would feed the homeless. It has evolved into many different annual events and programs. This one in particular, they're doing Easter baskets for children in local hospitals and also goodie bags for elderly in nursing homes. So he is an amazing college boy, young man now, but I've known him since he was a baby, and his mom, and they're great people in our community. They live in our city. And so I just wanted to push that out there, that if there's anyone in the community looking for something to donate or to get involved in, they have a website. They're very involved in the community, so I just threw that out there. And then also, my second community support funds are for Boynton Beach High School. Dr. Fuller is here. I asked him if he would share for a couple of minutes with us. I went recently and did an update tour with him of the high school, and we went to all the aerospace classrooms, and his teachers were telling me about this summer. I'll let him kind of share a little bit more about it, but 2 of their teams are competing this summer in a national competition, and they struggle with funding and looking for funding. And so I was happy to support Boynton Beach High School and their aeronautical and their aerospace program. So Dr. Fuller, if you would just take a few minutes just to explain this program, I would greatly appreciate it.
Well, good evening and congratulations, Mayor Shelton, honorable members of the commission, and fellow Boynton Beach residents. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm honored to serve as the principal of Boynton Beach Community High School. I'm almost 2 years in. My predecessor is now my boss, just in case anyone's wondering. But I got to start by thanking you guys. First of all, in '23, you gifted us with a $100,000 grant, which has been extremely transformative to some of the things we've accomplished in the last year or so at Boynton High. For the first time since COVID, we've been able to go one-to-one with technology, and your support has actually benefited our seniors the most. We've been able to move our graduation rate up to a 91% with just 1 year of work, and that's just piggybacking off of the funds that were granted to us. Beyond academics, in this past year, we've been able to partner with the city, meeting with Mr. Mack quite a bit, actually. But we've been able to host numerous events. One of them actually, First Responder Appreciation Night, where we were there celebrating our partnership with police as well as fire. And I can say, as far as the community outreach, our relationship with the Boynton Beach Police is outstanding. Not only are we provided with a couple of officers a day, they're there building relationships with our students, with us as a staff, and then, of course, me being a community member. I happen to run into them all the time, not because they're stopping me for speeding or anything, but at the different events. We participate in the tree lighting, the parade. We were very honored to participate in Pirate Fest this year, all with the goal of just connecting to the city. So today, just highlighting our Aerospace Science Academy. After dominating in regional competition, they have actually been invited to an international competition, which will be held at the University of Maryland at the end of May, beginning of June. Both our A and B teams have won both first and second place. What's more alarming is our first place winners are actually our underclassmen. So the future is very bright. And just a little bit about what Sea Perch is. It's an underwater drone competition. They have to design and build their ROVs and kind of take them through different obstacle courses and challenges all underwater. So maybe one day we can help with the dredging project, who knows? But I just want to take this time to thank you guys for your partnership and your support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fuller.
Okay, we are moving on to the public audience portion of the meeting. As always, it'll be 3 minutes per person, and it's non-transferable, so anybody who'd like to speak, come on down. We have podiums on either side. And please state your name and your city.
Thought that was a dime, but it's not. But anyway, good afternoon, Mike McCray. Protocol has already been established, so I will not go through that, but I'd like to say to our Deputy City Manager, Andrew Mack, I want to say, sir, thank you last night for your presentation in regards to Sarah Sims Cemetery. But before you get too far along in your plans, please meet with all the directors that will be utilizing that cemetery so that you all will get our input. People think just because we're directors that we don't like live people, but we do. Thank you. Moving right along. I sat on the commission when we voted to do Sarah Sims Park. I heard some disturbing news last night, and I have to address it to this commission. And they said that we have homeless people living in Sarah Sims Park when we spent over $3 million to beautify that park and make it a pristine park, not only for District 2, but for the citizens here in Boynton. And for me to have worked so hard, along with the other commissioners, and to hear that the children in that community are saying that they are afraid to go out to Sarah Sims Park because of what's taking place now. I heard the chief report. Congratulations, but there's still much work that we all must do. We're not through yet. I'd like to commend you all on the atmosphere here tonight. The atmosphere is delightful. We don't feel like we are being encamped like in a prison setting, that we could say what we want to say. Amen. In regards to our meeting that we had last night, this meeting takes place once a month. We have kiosks here in the city. Let's utilize those kiosks to advertise that meeting. It's held in District 2, but it's for all of the citizens in Boynton. And we need more people to come out. We had about 25 to 30. Vice Mayor Hayes said that we had a fabulous turnout, but I was disappointed because it should have been packed. When you have concerns, we had almost as many members that came from Delray to help us look good, but I'm just saying, the citizens in Boynton, we need to be nudged to do whatever we have to do to tell us that that is our meeting, that is our input. This chamber needs to be filled with people of color, because this is where we get the work done. We got you all representing us. Unless we bring things to you and ask for your help, you don't know what we need. Just want to tell you all, God bless you all. I'm going to tell you like the doctor asked the directors before. He came to us and said, how's business? And we said, we're still covering up your mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, all. My name is Charles Hunt, a military retiree. I live and reside in Rolling Green at 1330 Northwest First Court. For the past 6 to 7 months, I've been complaining about the city of Boynton taking advantage of the residents in Rolling Green with liens and fines, which we could never repay. Whereas I myself are being charged $75 a day for having something on my carport other than a car since 18 July. I somewhat could understand that if we had something looking bad on our carport, we should be fined. But I don't see it. Nothing. In the past, I blamed the city manager, which I must apologize, because the city manager that's not his field of force, where he is a dedicated police, which I think that he would be the best police chief we could ever have. He just don't have the heart, and he haven't been trained in dealing with people. He's not people-oriented. He forced. That's his job. In fact, we all agree that he came down off of the podium to the audience on December 3rd to jump on, to force an individual, a senior citizen, who was voicing his opinion. And this guy was in distress. Luckily, we had a police officer to come between them. I'm not really saying that, hey, this is a bad person, but I think it's the wrong person in the wrong job. He's been trained to enforce the law, not to bring people together. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, Susan Oyer, Boynton Beach. So I wanted to start out with the last regular commission meeting. I was wrong on some stats I brought up, and I talked with Chief DiGiulio, so I told him I would come back and say I was wrong, and what happened at the time was outside the city limits, so I just wanted to correct that. Number one, we need to get the Andrews House over to the CRA, get it moved, get it saved, stop playing around. And I would talk about some of this during CRA, except, that's one of my later points here. Next up, there's a petition to stop the Dunes project. Please sign it, please share it, it's out there, it's public. Let's get this awful project off and out of our city. Number three, sorry, this is actually number four. I should have brought my reading glasses. Here we go. The CRA attorney, she basically lied to the public at the CRA meeting saying about what we could and could not talk to. So obviously I should talk about it here where I'm allowed to talk about what I want to, because the CRA attorney lies about what we are allowed to talk about during CRA meetings during public time. So my suggestion is you all contemplate getting rid of that CRA attorney, and she's on my list, and that's not a good place to be. Let's see. We need to have a code revision board. We need to get moving on beautification, which I have been complaining about since 2019 when that CRA study happened, and nothing has still been done. Let's get it done. We need to work on bringing back P&D and giving them final authority and/or an architectural review board. Cities who have those with final authority are allowed to keep them, even with live local. So maybe it's time we do something, because obviously what's coming our direction is ugly and the residents are not happy. So maybe you guys want to start taking a look at this, and let's get moving on some boards. And so since nobody seems to be reading my emails, here you go. Clerk, there's one for you and Commissioner Cruz. I've got your names on them. I don't have enough for all the assistant city managers, sorry, but there's a name on each one for Dan and the commissioners. And that'll give you something to read tonight while you're sitting here in the slow times or when you are bored, because you didn't take the time to read and respond to the email I sent. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello. My name is Charles Galkin, resident of Colonial Club, number 8 Colonial Club Drive. I came with several others who are here from this same area with the idea that we would be able to present our views quite opposed to the creation of an 8-story monstrosity of 298, or 2 apartments plus 38 townhouses on the west side of Federal Highway, opposite our residences. And I thought that we would follow the usual procedures, which would be to present the reasons for opposing this monstrosity, and which would be followed by presentations by the developer and the consideration by the board. And this would eventually possibly lead to corrections and redesign, and something that would be not only potentially legal, but of less of an imposition on the property owners nearby, which, by the way, have never been informed of any proposed activity. Now, but I'm disappointed, more than disappointed, but shocked to find for the first time that you don't have anything to do with it. The state just recently has passed, the legislature has approved a new law which removes the rights of the property owners, except for the ones who are going to build. And this is a rather unique and distressing development that I believe that this law was adopted in a few months ago.
Sir, you have about 5 seconds.
And, excuse me?
There's a time limit, so you have about 5 seconds. Keep going if
It's
you want to wrap it
it's
up.
a
It's
shock,
okay.
and this is the time when the commission ought to be speaking out. I don't hear anything. I didn't even know that this law, which was the number of this
Understood,
is SB 102.
Sir, thank you so much.
And
Unfortunately, we have other
please-
people.
Please take action. I think on your program, you made a reference to this kind of thing.
Yes.
And nothing has come out of here. Nothing at the local level. The legislature is on a tear. We were not allowing any room left for local decision-making. And this
Thank
is
you so
important.
much.
And the rights of the property owners remain, the adjacent property owners.
Thank
That
you.
was not removed.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, city staff, and commissioners. My name is Dave Patterson, and I live in Los Mangos, which is off of Federal Highway in Boynton Beach. I am the Los Mangos Board President and also sit on a committee called Save Los Mangos. We are a community opposite this gentleman. For those of you unfamiliar with us, our community of 188 homes has been around for nearly 5 decades. We are truly a diverse community with a mix of year-round residents, snowboards, retirees, workforce, blue-collar, white-collar, all ages. Our community is park-like, and we have over 800 inventory trees on 38 acres. We're a 1-story and 2-story community, and we're here representing not just Los Mangos, but our 3-story and 4-story neighbors from Woolbright south to the Delray Beach line. We're here tonight because permits have been approved for Dune 1 and Dune 2. We now have a better idea of what is being built. We are here to protest in the strongest terms possible against this Live Local Act protected 8-story, 85-foot-high project containing 298 rental apartments and a 401-space parking garage. The city's position has been, it can do nothing. Your hands are not tied. You do have a choice. We see throughout the state of Florida, cities large and small fighting to protect their neighborhood's quality of life by pushing back on the Live Local Act. It's already been amended. In fact, in the latest legislative session, there are many who now publicly state that this law is broken. It needs to be completely reimagined. It needs a do-over. Let us be crystal clear. We wholeheartedly support affordable housing and would advocate for affordable housing that is truly affordable. We are not for a grab by a developer to get ocean view units at a market rate. Not just this build, but all builds in Boynton Beach need to be in harmony with the surrounding community and with the city's comprehensive plan. We need an innovative citywide program to encourage home ownership. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you for your attention, and I'll turn this over now to the chair of our Save Los Mangos Committee.
Thank you so much. Next, please.
I don't care. You can go first. Go. Go.
Good evening. My name is Kim Roger, and I also live in Los Mangos. I'm the chairperson of the Save Los Mangos Committee. The problems with this build are many. For example, 298 apartments on just 2.98 acres that is tantamount to a 0 lot line build. It grossly exceeds the density levels in our area's neighborhoods by 10 times. It is dangerous, it is reckless, and it is being protected under the Live Local Act. It has been characterized as a build that is too tight. Yesterday, we received our request for the documents that support the approved permits and began reviewing them. Thank you, Adam, for facilitating the request. There is an extensive list of issues and concerns. Tonight, we would like to highlight the attack of the ownership of the median that we have maintained since 1977, the placement of our community signage, and the lack of full-throated, transparent engagement by the developer. The rest will be presented at another time. Initially, we're asking for this 85-foot build to be lowered to 45 feet and be compatible with our neighborhood. Proper setbacks, reorient the building on the site, and establish a good neighbor policy. In closing tonight, we hope that the city is going to step up and protect the good people of Boynton Beach, because if allowed to happen as now proposed, this will set a precedent through the city and beyond. We respectfully take the position that it's time for everyone on the dais to stand up for the residents, the voters, taxpayers, homeowners, and not only protect our city, but bring balance to this whole process. We're asking for this to be the start of a dialogue with you. We are hopeful you will take our remarks very seriously. Thank you. And personally, I would just like to thank Vice Mayor Hay always for his thoughtful convocations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Reedy, and I wanted to speak to you tonight about, I need help with getting historic signs replaced and replanted and purchased and put up. I walked through the Dewey Park the other day and was very saddened by the condition of the sign, reminding people in that park what that park represents. It's been beat up, beat upon, tore up. It's definitely needs to be replaced, please. The Children's Schoolhouse Museum is on the National Register. Where is its sign? Some of these signs were removed during the construction that took place downtown on the town square, but we need to put that back up. Children's Schoolhouse Museum is on the National Register. Let's put its sign back up, please. I don't know where it is. I don't know who to ask for help. The Girl Scout troop, 25145, one of the little girls wanted to help somehow with the Magnuson House sign, because there's a QR code on there that is so degraded that you can't really read it or use it, and the Girl Scouts wanted to help somehow. And I don't know how to ask them to help, how to direct them to help us. The QR codes that were on stanchions downtown that were removed during construction, we were told that those would eventually be put back up and all those QR codes updated and refreshed and covered so that they would be protected from the sun. We're still waiting for it. We'd really like to purchase a historic sign for the cultural center to make people aware of the history of that building. It is on the local register. We haven't put it on the national register, although we could, and that would be wonderful. So I just wanted to ask for help with signs. We don't have a historic preservation planner to, advocate for these things. And I wanted to say also that I agree with what Susan said. Could you please, bounce the Andrews House into the CRA court and see what we can do about moving rapidly on that so the developer doesn't become disenfranchised? And also, can we do something about the Live Local Act? Those folks are I don't blame them for being upset about it, and you should too, because this is power, your power, that has been usurped. And you do not have control over these Live Local things, and that's not right. So there must be something we can do. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Mike Fitzpatrick, 175 Southwest 2nd Street. 2 p.m. today, there was a very positive meeting on moving the Andrews House. In attendance was Andrew Mack, Adam Templer, and Tim Tack. My observation is the general consensus was the CRA should be the lead agency for moving the Andrews House because it would be moving to CRA property and most of the funds would come from the CRA. More time was spent talking about the Magnuson House than the Andrews House because if both houses are on the same lot, problems are intertwined. The biggest question mark that was noted is the developer is not responding to multiple contact attempts. My observation is to keep solving problems, the staff needs a more formal direction from the CRA board. And at the end, Andrew Mack recommended the people meeting today should regularly meet approximately every 2 weeks as needed to keep pushing forward. So like I said, a very positive meeting, and thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
David Katz, Boynton Beach. A few moments ago, a gentleman named Charles Hunt came up here and spoke disparagingly about our city manager. The incident he spoke about, one that was not a senior citizen. Also, it was a gentleman who doesn't even live in the city of Boynton Beach. And the reason for that is because that person sent anonymous emails to the city manager's family, sort of trying to upset his whole family life. And I don't think there's a man in this room who wouldn't stand up for his family and risk everything he has to protect his kids and his wife. And that's what that man did. He came down here and risked his job because of what the attacks were on his family and his wife. That's what happened. Now, he apologized for it. He didn't stay for the meeting, but I'm telling you, that is a man with character. That is a man who will protect his family at any cost. And that's the kind of man we need to be city manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Cindy Falco Di Corrado. I just wanted to bring up several issues tonight that would I'd like them taken care of. Number one, the bathrooms. They need to be designated one for a man and one for a woman. There are only two genders. Some men need to be a little sweetie and clean the seedy. It is a hazard to have us females sit on that. It's a health hazard. The LBGTQTP sign in the middle of the road. It is illegal. It denotes that the city agrees with pedophilia and raping children. The 666 benches, they call it art, but it is a symbol of the mark of the beast. And for those of you that know, you know. The chief of police, who allegedly isn't doing his job and tampers with evidence, sleeps with hookers, distorts truth, and has a sergeant attack Americans, such as myself, which was right here on March the 5th, 2024. I wonder if that's on that list of his stats. And arresting pretty much innocent Americans, because that's who they're arresting mostly. And I want to also say that the chief of police is also violating his oath of office by not removing illegals. He will not sign the document, which is harming Americans. We are talking about illegally here. We are not talking about people that came through the front door. We are talking about strangers coming into our home without permission, taking our houses and eating our food and sleeping in our beds without our consent. What part of illegal do you not comprehend, Mr. Chief of Police? Next is the disgusting odor of marijuana that permeates our air, our right to breathe without secondhand smoke and toxic chemicals going into our bodies. If it is for medicinal purposes, stay at home, as that is where you stay when you're sick. Also, the First Amendment, freedom of speech. It is alive and well. God gave us the freedom to speak, and all of you took an oath to uphold and to protect that right, just keeping it real. We do not want 8-story buildings in our downtown area. We do not have the infrastructure nor water pipes to sustain it. For your information, those who are for high rises do not live in East Boynton Beach, and it wouldn't affect them with the traffic and the problems that this will cause. Last but not least, the red light cameras. They are illegal. It is color of law, Title 18 U.S. Code 241 and 242, which is crimes against we the people. It also violates the Sixth Amendment to face your accuser. How can you face your accuser when the company is in another state? I demand that these things be removed now. Thank you.
Thank you. No other public comments?
We have nobody online.
We have some people online?
No, there's nobody online.
No one is online, so we are good to move on.
Mayor, point of information. Can we, if it's okay with my colleagues, can we have the city attorney address this, the concerns about live local and everything? And maybe go over thoroughly how this law came to be, what it does, in a very simple matter. And then I have some questions after you go, if you guys are okay with that.
Please.
Okay.
I am. Are you okay, Vice Mayor?
I just want to take a minute to explain the Live Local Act. I'm sorry, did you say?
He's okay with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shauna Lamb, City Attorney. With regard to the Live Local Act, as we all know, local governments have what is called home rule power. And that means we have the power to regulate those things like developments and those sort of things, so long as the state has not preempted that power. And when the state regulates something, that means that we no longer have the right to regulate that. So what the legislation did with Senate Bill 102 is they created the Live Local Act. So with regard to the Live Local Act, because it is a state statute, the City Commission is completely limited on anything relating to those developments. And to be specific, projects, the Act deliberately preempts local government control in several ways. If a proposed multifamily development meets the state's Live Local Act criteria by setting aside units for affordable or workforce housing, this commission cannot deny the development based on land use, zoning, density, or height limitations. This applies if the property is zoned for commercial or industrial use. The development is in an area with sufficient infrastructure, and the site isn't preservation or conservation land. The city must administratively approve, without any commission review, these qualifying projects if they comply with the Florida Building Code and other technical requirements. They cannot impose any additional requirements beyond basic life safety standards. The city only retains authority over building code compliance review, basic infrastructure adequacy, and life safety requirements. And the processing of the permits and applications must happen within the statutory timeframes set out by our state legislature. This means that the traditional commission powers over zoning, density, land use are restricted. The act was specifically designed to bypass local control of the government to accelerate affordable housing. It intentionally limits municipal authority to streamline the approval process for these affordable housing developments. Now, the legal implications. Attempting to rezone property specifically to prevent or reduce Live Local projects would likely face serious legal challenges because the Live Local Act explicitly prohibits local governments from taking any action that would prevent qualifying developments. Any rezoning specifically targeted at reducing Live Local projects could be interpreted as deliberately circumventing Florida law. Such actions expose the city to legal liability, lawsuits from developer, state enforcement actions, potential claims of discriminatory housing practices, financial penalties, legal costs, and reversal of rezoning districts. There's also additional, since the developers own the property, if you restrict now what they are able to use the property, you could trigger what's called a Burt Harris claim, potentially forcing the city to either compensate the property owner or reverse the rezoning decision. There's also a constitutional takings challenge that could be brought if the rezoning substantially diminishes the property value or their development rights. So we are literally hand-tied. Now, I do want to mention, local criteria, if they are met, let me say this. Even if the proposed live local development conflicts with the city's comprehensive plan or future land use map or policies, the act says the act takes precedence. So long as the development is meeting the state guidelines, we have no say, despite if we change our comprehensive plan or our future land use map. I do want to give you one example that I was able to research. Bal Harbor Village attempted to, they had a 9-count complaint that's over 300 pages filed against them because they tried to take action to prevent live local acts. Now we know Bal Harbor is a very, wealthy area. After the complaint was filed, the village pursued an alternate strategy to prevent the application from being approved, amending its existing ordinances to render the application non-compliant, and in doing so, effectively acknowledging that it had no choice but to approve the application. The complaint went on to say that these actions by the village, coupled with the Florida legislature's most recent amendment of the Live Local Act, not coincidentally, to prevent this type of municipal mischief and statutory nullification, required the filing of this type of action. I don't know what has happened with that complaint. I suspect that they then approved the action. So we are very, very, very limited on what we can do. And Amanda can certainly come up and talk about some of the things that may be done, but the frustration is there, and I believe, the city has the frustration as well. However, the complaints really need to go to the local representatives at the state legislature and in voting, because we have no say, and any attempt to challenge it subjects us to very expensive and costly litigation.
Thank you, Shona. Real quick on what you mentioned, changing the comprehensive plan. If this body decided to move in that direction holistically and organically, would that affect future parcels that are not owned by someone looking to do live local?
No, because the act
Just
specifically
current ownership?
states, the act specifically states is that the plan development meets the state's act. It does not matter what your comprehensive plan says. We are completely preempted.
Yeah, and this was, when was this law passed? A year ago, 2 years ago?
It was originally passed in 2023, and then there were significant amendments made last year.
Yeah, I remember the amendments, and the city lobbied against this last year with Ballard Partners. The Palm Beach County League of Cities lobbied against this. This is not just certain to Boynton Beach. There's a lot of municipalities that are against this bill. And I just want to touch on everyone who's concerned. You have to reach out to your local representatives. We reach out to our local representatives, but the more emails, more phone calls that are done, the more movement you can get. And I wouldn't just focus on our current representatives, but outside of Boynton Beach, outside of their districts, because that's the only way you're going to institute change. When I was in Tallahassee last year, I saw the amendments, and everything just moved through committee fast, and it's unfortunate. And so I think what this commission needs to do, this is something that Commissioner Cruz had brought up prior, is take a look at our comprehensive land and maybe take action, to prevent this from happening in the future. I know we've had conversations about increasing required green space, increasing setbacks, increasing the, minimum square footage, for units in the city. I think there's other creative ways to incentivize and regulate the type of development that we want. And, what we do today, we may not see the results in a year or two. What we do today, we'll see in 3 to 5 years. So, I want to see that conversation come back. I know there was consensus prior to have that conversation. I know that's a big overhaul to look at our comprehensive plan. I don't know if that's something we do in-house, or that's something that we farm out, but, we've been hearing this for years and years and years. I mean, look at Town Square, there was a big pushback on that. It's 8 stories, 450 apartments at the end of my street. I get it, right across from here. And, you know, we can't control the past, but we can definitely set the stage for the future.
Mayor, if I can.
Please.
Just to add to what Commissioner Turkin said regarding the city's comprehensive plan, our Planning and Development Department are currently negotiating final terms for an agreement to do exactly what the commission has directed us to, and that is to do a comprehensive plan overhaul. It will be a lengthy process, and we hope to have that contract for the consultant at the next meeting or two.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for that update, Adam.
Thank you. Can I make a quick comment?
Yes, please, Commissioner Cruz.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Adam, for that update also. I wanted to see if it's possible, and thank you, Shauna. I hope you feel better. You sound very sick as well. Just quick question. If we could hone on that portion a little bit with regard to the state requirement, the Live Local State Guidelines. I think you mentioned a piece about the infrastructure or something along the lines of the project being aligned with the something about infrastructure. Can you hold a little bit on that, please?
I'd like to invite Amanda up, because as it gets into the any specific planning and development and those sort of things, and she is certainly the expert, not I.
Good evening, Amanda Radigan, Planning and Development Director for the city. The way the state statute reads is that the projects do need to meet the development regulations. So they are held to the same infrastructure standards as any other project would be. And they do have to meet all the planning and zoning regulations within the code. That is different than the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan doesn't hold regulations, it is just policy. Those types of things would need to be edited within the land development regulations. So they are reviewed like any other project. They need to meet drainage, they need to talk about utilities and all of the easements and move water the same way any other project would. We cannot approve a project without those concurrency reviews.
Thank you.
Just real quick, so what dictates it meets the infrastructure requirements?
So all of the drainage requirements and other infrastructure requirements are within the land development regulations. We have a zoning portion and an engineering portion that is reviewed, and some of them are outside agencies as well. So things like traffic, road, like we talked about mobility, all of those concurrency reviews are handled within different agencies, largely within our city.
But so like the drainage, is that Dr. Calcutt that decides that, or the?
No. So
like who decides, like, hey, this is good to go? I know the county does the traffic, right? Yes. They'll do the traffic study, and then the city has the traffic code.
Drainage would be the city engineer, and within the engineering division's purview for review. Utilities reviews wastewater and utilities, not drainage. Drainage is how much water and stormwater runoff there is on a site and the fact if they can contain that water. So there are codes within our regulations, and there's also South Florida Water Management District codes that we follow.
So it's, okay, so South Florida Water Management District also looks at the drainage is that for every project, or is that for residential too, single family home?
That's correct. South Florida Water Management District does regulate drainage within South Florida. So they would have a say in it. Only when they wouldn't, it would be a single-family house, like if you're going to build a single-family house.
So they don't do it for single-family.
Like if you're going to build one house on one lot. They also have Lake Worth Drainage District as well that is involved with some of the drainage as well, depending on how they're discharging or where they're discharging to.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, it's just like a super dense project, so I mean, you don't know how bad the drainage is going to be until it's built, right? Like, look at Fort Lauderdale. You know what I mean? They approved everything under the sun down there, and it's underwater, you know, when it storms. So I don't know. I think I look forward to the comprehensive plan overhaul.
I will mention that, you know, any drainage that's designed is done by a professional engineer licensed in the state of Florida who has license and insurance. If there was a problem where there was malfeasance or negligence done, that community could, or the city could file a claim against their license and/or restitution as well.
Got it. And these
Thank
and
you
these
all
are
for that.
subject to
Thank you,
Florida
Andrew.
building code. This administrative approval is subject to Florida building code. Okay.
Commissioner
it's-
Cruz, you had a comment?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I was just saying, thank you for your responses, and thanks to Andrew as well for clarification.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll continue this conversation, you know, when, I just wanted to have the public receive some information, some clarity, like we had discussed at the agenda workshop. So yeah, maybe we can discuss this at another meeting or in conjunction with the comprehensive plan. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you,
Thank you.
Amanda, Andrew.
Okay, moving on to the administrative portion of the agenda. The first item is appointing a city representative and alternate for the countywide intergovernmental coordination program. Are there any volunteers?
I'll make a motion to appoint Commissioner Kelly.
We reviewed this during Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but Commissioner Cruz wasn't
Oh, that's
online,
right.
so.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. No, I had an event that I had to attend, but that, I would be fine with that.
You're muffling, Commissioner.
Yes, but she can't.
She can't
do a
vote. She
second
can't
because
vote.
she's
She
online,
can
okay.
contribute feedback.
So,
Is there a second for the, we need an alternate
Well, we need an
too.
alternate too.
Correct.
So I select Rebecca as the alternate, I think is what we talked about on Thursday.
so we good to move?
So we just need a motion to approve Amy Kelly, Commissioner Kelly as the
Primary.
representative and Rebecca Shelton as the alternate to the Intergovernmental Coordination Program.
Okay, so all of those in favor, no?
No, there wasn't a
The second.
second.
Oh,
So I'll make
okay,
the motion. Motion to approve Commissioner Kelly as the primary intergovernmental agency delegate and Mayor Shelton as the alternate.
Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Turkin moved to approve resolution number R25081. Commissioner Kelly seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed unanimously. Moving on, the second item is appointing a city representative and alternate to the Coalition of Boynton West Residents Association. Are there any volunteers?
I'll take that.
Commissioner Hay for the
Okay, so.
primary.
Vice Mayor Hay was going to be the, and then,
Oh, Vice
and then we just needed an alternate
Who's
for
the
that
alternate?
board.
Mayor Shelton.
Commissioner Cruz is the alternate now, but,
I am.
okay.
Good.
You-
Take
Yeah,
you're
I'll
good.
make a motion to approve Vice Mayor Hay as the primary delegate for Cobra with Mayor Shelton as the alternate.
Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Turkin moved to approve resolution number R25082. Vice Mayor Hay seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion passed unanimously. Okay, the third item is appointing a city representative and alternate to the Palm Beach County League of Cities. Are any volunteers?
I'd like to be the alternate, so
I'll
I'd
be-
like to make the motion to, if anyone, does anyone oppose that?
I'll be
And-
there.
And then, yeah, and then motion to approve Vice Mayor Hay as the primary for the representative of the League of Cities and myself, Commissioner Turkin, as the alternate.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Turkin moved to approve resolution number R25083. Commissioner Kelly seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion passed unanimously. Okay, the fourth item is appointing a city representative and alternate to the Transportation Planning Agency. Are there volunteers?
I'll make a motion to nominate Commissioner Kelly as the primary for the TPA, and if there's no opposition, I'd like myself to be the alternate.
Is that a motion?
That's a
I
motion.
wanted to make a quick comment.
I'll second that for a comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been on the TPA for 3 years. I've brought in millions of dollars to the city. I've been part of that board for 3 years already, and I would like to stay on, whether it's on a alternate position or primary. Either way, I would be okay with either of those, but I don't want to be kicked off this board. I mean, I've been able to bring a lot of money to the city and been able to build relationships with that as well, which has benefited our community.
Is there such a thing as alternate one and alternate two?
I mean, it's by resolution.
You guys can appoint more than one alternate if you so choose.
Okay, so we have Commissioner Kelly is the main.
Just
and-
call the question, call the vote.
I do there.
Is there a motion?
There's a motion and there's a second for discussion.
Okay. Just to repeat, the motion is to approve Commissioner Kelly as the primary representative and with, I'm sorry, who was the alternate?
Commissioner Turkin.
Oh, Commissioner.
Commissioner Turkin. Do you want to amend the motion to add a second alternate?
Is that something we can do?
Is that,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, then yeah.
Then let's do it.
Let's amend that current motion to add an additional alternate nominating Commissioner Cruz.
Second.
Okay. So we have Commissioner Kelly, no, Commissioner Turkin moved to approve the resolution, right? You started it.
Yes.
Yeah. right.
This
I
one's
made the
confusing me a
motion,
little bit,
and,
guys.
It's all good.
So Commissioner Turkin moved to approve resolution number R25084.
Vice Mayor Hay seconded it.
Vice Mayor Hayes seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Hey,
The motion passed unanimously.
let me make a comment on that.
Yeah, because that one threw me off.
When you go to the Transportation Planning Agency, as many of us that wants to go can go, because there's an
Absolutely.
audience
It's also online,
that you can,
too.
and it's online, so you can go to the meeting or you can attend it online. But those who are up sitting on the board, those are the ones that we just voted on. Okay, just want to make sure that's clear.
Can I ask a question about the process? So when the main person cannot go, do they notify so that the alternate has enough time to be able to attend?
Yes.
Okay, just want
Yes.
to make sure that's what happens.
Typically, there's communication with our assistant. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Okay.
It hasn't always worked in the past that way, but that's the way it should work.
I understand emergencies come up, but if we know ahead of time, it would be nice
Exactly.
to make sure we always have representation there. Okay, we will move on to the advisory board appointments. The nomination goes to Commissioner Cruz to appoint a regular member to the Art Advisory Board. Would you like to make your motion? But can she, because she's
From
home?
online?
She can appoint, but she can't make the motion.
Okay.
So someone else can make the motion on her
Okay.
behalf, her appointment.
Commissioner Cruz, would you like to appoint someone?
I will just go ahead and skip that for today, please.
Okay.
Motion to,
Motion to table?
Correct.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. So,
That could, is that where you're,
Karina, yes.
yeah, okay.
so we're
So we
skipping.
vote on the motion to table?
Yeah, we just made a motion. I seconded it to table the item for the Arts Advisory Board.
All those in favor?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Tabled for the next meeting.
That one threw me off, too. Okay, so are we moving all the way through?
There are no applicants for the Building Board of Adjustments.
Wait, what did you say, Shauna?
There's no, there are no
there's no-
applicants.
Oh, yeah, we're moving on. There's no applicants for the
applicants.
Building Board of Adjustment and Appeals, but there are 5 regular member and 2 alternate member positions available for anyone that qualifies and would like to apply. We're going to move on to the Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Board. We have 1 applicant, and there are 3 regular positions available. This nomination goes to Commissioner Kelly to appoint a regular member to the CRA Advisory Board. Would you
I
like
think
to?
I got it,
No,
man.
No,
it's
Turkey.
Commissioner Turkin.
So,
I have it.
No worries, Turkin.
so I had I believe, there's a missing applicant on here. I spoke with Bill Swiner, and he had showed interest and applied in this. So if it's okay, I'd like to, for my nomination, I'd like to appoint Bill Swiner. I mean, he's in the crowd too, if you guys have any questions. Served on our Planning and Development Board prior, long-term resident of the city.
Well, how do we know he applied?
Bailey, have we gotten
Well,
an application?
Because, I mean,
We have to make sure, and Maylee, correct me, I think that they have to do some due diligence with regard to vetting the application. So we would just have to see where the clerk's office is with doing that before we could move to a point.
Yeah, there's cutoff dates, and so he probably applied after our cutoff date, and he might be on the next meeting. So there are a few more positions if you wanted to do that for the next meeting.
Yeah, can I just table my,
Yes.
you want to table this all together?
Yes.
Are you guys okay if I table all together?
Yes.
Okay, all right, motion to table the appointments.
Okay, so Commissioner made a motion to table the CRA Advisory Board appointment. Commissioner Kelly seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Yep, we're skipping.
Move it up. Who's,
Okay, to the consent agenda. We will now be moving on to consent agenda. If my colleagues would like to pull any items from consent, let's begin with Commissioner Turkin to my left.
No, we kind of covered everything at the workshop. No, I don't have anything.
Commissioner Kelly?
No, thank you.
Vice Mayor Hay?
none for me.
If there are no further changes, we may have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
All those in favor approve the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so now we're moving on to consent bids. We'll be moving on to consent bids and purchases over $100,000. If my colleagues would like to pull any items, let's begin to my right with Vice Mayor Hay.
I have none.
Commissioner Kelly?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Turkin?
Nope, motion to approve consent,
Second.
bids and purchases over 100,000.
Okay, if there's no further changes, we have a motion to approve the consent bids for purchases over $100,000. We have a second. All those in favor to approve the agenda, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to Section 8. Okay, no,
Nothing on public hearing.
No.
no public hearings.
Public hearing.
Okay, we're going on to 9.
Mayor, on 10B, I think that was mentioned that we were going to table that item until a later meeting on Thursday.
We
So,
Oh, yes.
Which one?
10B, it's a discussion of the animal control position in the
Yes,
police
so that will
department.
be tabled.
We'll have to make a motion to table
When we
it
get-
because it
Yeah,
is
we'll
on
get
the
there.
Motion to table
We're not-
item 10.
We still have 10A.
There yet.
Okay, so.
Sorry.
You guys jumping ahead. Hold on.
9,
Okay. So we're on 10A, right, for the Lamar Jackson Way? Or we're good with that one?
Yeah, no, that's where
Yes.
we're starting. There's
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
no city manager's
Okay.
report.
The first item under the regular agenda is proposed resolution number R25094, approving name of the entry road to Boynton Beach High School as Lamar Jackson Way in honor of Boynton Beach High School alumnus Lamar Jackson for the outstanding athletic achievements and contributions to the community. Who do we have from staff that will begin? Come on down. Thank you.
Good evening again, everybody.
Evening.
Wonderful, okay. So short presentation for you guys, just to kind of give you a little bit of a background for those who don't know who Lamar Jackson is and kind of give you an idea of what we're looking to do here. First off, again, my name is Fabian Darlow. I'm the Assistant Director of Recreation and Cultural Services here in the city, and I've had the honor of being one of the leads for this project here. Oh, jumped too many. Oh, geez, it didn't update. Okay, well, one of the slides I added is not here, but that's okay. These are two examples of the signage that we are looking to do. These signs would be placed on campus at Boynton Beach High School, as well as the sign right there at the intersection of Gateway entering into the high school would be adjusted to with more of your standard FDOT kind of green signage that's currently there. So right now it just says Boynton Beach High School, but that would be swapped out to be saying Lamar Jackson Way as well. They did something recently in Louisville that is very similar to this. They retired his jersey just this past season, and this was part of that program as well, too, was renaming the street there on the stadium, as well as putting some signage similar to this. A little bit of background on Lamar Jackson. So he's a South Florida native, born and raised in Pompano Beach, but came up here for high school, went to Boynton Beach High School, was a big athlete here, pretty much the top athlete coming out of Palm Beach his senior year. Went on to the University of Louisville, where he won the Heisman Trophy, the most prestigious trophy that you can win in college football, pretty much their MVP. He was two-time ACC Player of the Year, won multiple awards, the Maxwell Award and many others in college. As he transitioned to the pros, he was a two-time NFL MVP, Most Valuable Player, three-time NFL All-Pro, first-team All-Pro, so pretty much sets him up as the last 5-10 years here, the top quarterback in the league. So he does a lot of philanthropic work here in South Florida. Specifically here in Boynton Beach, he does the LJ Fun Day, which usually falls in the middle of July. That takes place over at Ezel Hester Community Center, utilizing the turf field as well as our multi-purpose field out there. Huge community impact. Last year, the attendance was through the roof. The kids thoroughly enjoyed it. He provided tons of amenities for them, blow-up options, photo opportunities, even stayed afterwards to throw the football with the kids too. So it was a very exciting event and something that we look to host here annually going forward each year. This program that we put together here with the street renaming, we got together with the high school, so we created a bit of a subcommittee, held discussions, also brought this to the Rec and Parks Advisory Board to get their buy-in on the project. They fully supported it, all board members, as well as we got some public input at that event meeting last Monday as well. So everybody seems to be behind it. He's a big figure here in the community. The high school, as I said, is fully supportive of it, and I think it'll bring some pride, if you will, to the high school and to the area as well. So it's something that we're very excited about, and this gives us the opportunity to kind of move forward with this project here. We don't have any specific dates on when this would be rolled out because we would like to do a little bit of a ceremony or something, possibly have him come back to town and do this as part of a bigger recognition for him. But these are the initial steps to get the ball kind of rolling and get the approval and the buy-in from the commission so we can move forward once we are ready to do so. And I'm here for any questions or comments or concerns.
Any questions from my colleagues?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing real quick. This is kind of like part of our initiative moving forward with kind of like our hometown heroes, like significant figures in Boynton Beach that we can essentially highlight their achievements and them being from our community. And I think this has kind of been a large missing part of Boynton for a long time. This should have been obviously when Lamar got drafted into the NFL. So I think him coming back to Boynton, especially last year, Commissioner Hay, you saw how, or Vice Mayor Hay, my apologies. You saw how significant that was with all the kids and everything. So we're definitely starting to bridge those gaps, and I think it's going to be beneficial to the city as a whole, to the kids and everything, so they can see that, hey, you come from Boynton, you're an athlete, and you make a significant achievement, the city's going to recognize your achievements.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Lamar Jackson is an asset to this community and especially to the kids. When he was here the last time and he came out on the field, it was like he is a superstar, but they just gathered around him. There were hundreds of kids just gathered around him. He was out there throwing passes to the kids and taking pictures. He was quite a good role model for our kids. And whenever we can get someone like that who will take the time out for our kids, we need to jump on it because it's an investment. It's an investment into our kids. These are kids we don't have to worry about. They are into a constructive program, and we should be cheering them on, all of Boynton Beach. Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention, and my apologies, but I do want to commend Andrew, Chris Malave, and Billy Tomei, our PAL program. Saturday, the 7-8-year-old girls, 7 and 8 and under, 5'6", they won the championship. And I think our 12 and 13U? 7, 8, they came in runners-up. So, and that was a South Florida tournament that included Hallandale, I want to say Miami Gardens, us, Davie, Miramar. So those girls, this was the first year we kind of brought in girls flag football, and it was a tremendous success. And I owe a great deal of gratitude, and the city does, to Billy Tomei. He continues to give back to the community after 4 decades. So.
I just have one quick comment. Thank you, Fabian, for doing this. Yeah, I was at that event this last summer, and he is one of those guys that you wouldn't know that he was a superstar or famous football player when he shows up. He hung around forever, and I remember his team was like, "We have to go do this." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna go hang out with these kids and throw the football, and this is my time." And so he is a truly just a down to earth guy. He's not that, superstar. He does love his community, loves coming back and giving to the kids and to the city. And so I'm super excited about this. I love the colors. He can't change football teams now.
Yes, that's right.
It flows.
Yes, absolutely.
So, no, this is cool. I love it. So I'm excited to see it come up. So, thank you.
Any other comments?
Everything's been said.
Okay, if there's no further changes, may we have a motion to approve resolution number R25094?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'm going for it. Vice Mayor Hay moved to approve resolution number R20094, and Commissioner Kelly seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. So we're skipping over B. We go right into.
Motion to table 10B.
Oh.
Yeah, be a
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to table B.
10B.
10B, and we have a second from Vice Mayor Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, sorry, Vice Mayor.
Aye.
Hay. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed unanimously. Okay. Moving on to 10C. This discussion was requested by Commissioner Kelly. If you'd like to begin the discussion on taking a legislative summer break.
Yes, thank you. We did this last year, and I think that it was helpful for staff. I wanted to talk about it again with staff. Do we know, and I'm sure we do, but what are the budget dates in July? Do we have those handy? Because I know they're not on my
Is Tony Davidson?
calendar yet.
Is he, I don't know. Alan, do you have the budget date, sir?
I think that's on my calendar, hold on.
Is it on, it should be on everyone's calendar.
I think it's July 7th.
It's normally in at the end of July or at the end of June, beginning of July, but I think those are workshops. I don't think they fall on a traditional Tuesday meeting.
Right.
But-
No, but I wanted to, because of what my thought was we took off June, but then right into that, then we have 4th of July. And I was just thinking if we went right through 4th of July, and then our first meeting would basically be a budget meeting, because July is really the focus
Right.
of the budget meeting. That's why I was asking, because I didn't want to get into a position where we're up against the budget date. So I was hoping that we'd have those. I know I am throwing this on you right this second.
I
but-
think we got it.
July 7th, 10th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay, so we have 3 dates. We have July 7th, July 9th, and July 10th. So if you wanted to not involve the budget, that means you would probably have to do more towards the entirety of the month of June. Typically, legislative break includes 2 meetings. So, or we could move around the what'd you say again?
Could cancel the July 1st meeting.
Right. Because then we have 4th of July, then does it make more sense?
I will be gone from the 26th of June to the 3rd for my 50th. I already had the plan
What were-
for a year.
What were the?
I don't think we'll have a meeting.
Okay. There's a
overlapping
meeting on
that.
the 1st, I think, July 1st,
There's a meeting on
right?
July 1st.
Oh, on July
as it is
1st.
Yeah,
right
July
now.
1st, there's a
Trip
meeting.
planned for a year.
That's right.
I'll go with whatever the majority is,
I
I'm
mean,
easy.
yeah, we could always try, look at maybe rescheduling those budget workshops as well. I could get with staff, and maybe if you
Well, I
guys
think the
wanted to
July
do that.
7th one would be fine.
Yeah,
I
me
just
too.
want to make sure that we,
Is that gonna
Oh, no,
coincide?
I'm back on the 4th. I'll be back for the 4th of July events here, so I moved my day coming back on the
let me look at
3rd so that I'm here
need
for
a
that.
calendar in front of my thing.
She only turned 51s.
Stop.
Yes.
The June meetings are June 3rd and June 17th. So you could cancel June, or you could cancel June 17th and July 1.
Just consolidate those. Either push them before or after.
Correct.
So
So
Fine, I would
What's
miss
the
the
s-
June
what was the
3rd
first one,
meeting, but
John?
that's fine.
The first one you would cancel would be the second meeting in June, which would be June 17th. And then you would cancel the first meeting in July, which would be July 1.
But what, the first meeting was what, June?
June 3rd.
So CRA is the 10th, so essentially the 11th until the,
Or
till the
June-
7th,
June
6th?
4th until July,
Do you guys do a legislative break on the CRA board as well?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then we'll discuss that at a different.
Yeah.
So which dates do you guys want to look at as far as having us reschedule?
No, not reschedule, just just
cancel.
We're going to
cancel.
consolidate into the other
Yeah,
meetings. We still have to do the
consolidate,
city businesses.
we'll meet on June 3rd
Okay.
and then skip all the way until,
July 7th.
July 7th.
Okay.
I won't be here for the June 3rd meeting, but that's fine. I'm sure you guys can handle it in my absence.
Okay.
Okay,
Do we need a motion for that?
No, it's just a discussion item.
Okay.
that was going to be my next question. Okay, so moving on, item D, the discussion was requested by Commissioner Turkin. If you'd like to begin the discussion on residency requirements to hold elected office.
Yeah, so I've spoken on this, we've reviewed this. I don't know, there's a presentation, if you guys want to see it. We've looked at this before, I think a few months ago.
If we could bring up the PowerPoint, because I would just like to point out, so with regard to the residency requirements, our charter currently states that you only have to be a resident for a year. So that's not something we can change without a charter amendment. However, what the commission is able to regulate is what are the requirements to prove residency. If we could skip slide 1. Please. I'm sorry, I don't have access. Okay, so, I'm sorry, one more. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going, please. Okay, so these are the residency requirements that we have right now on, in our code or charter, depending on where you look. So some of the things that we can change, if you please go to the next slide. Okay, so this is what West Palm Beach currently requires. They also have a 1-year required, but in order to prove residency, you have to show these other things. Like, so for your Florida driver's license, for example, you would have to show a Florida driver's license valid for the year prior. And then you would also need a true copy of a deed, a property tax receipt, or these various things. Next slide, please. Okay, the city of Boca Raton, again, you see the things that they require, 2 or more of the following, and it lists the things, a lease agreement and all those sort of things which date back a year prior. Next slide, please, the final slide. Okay, Doral is very comprehensive with regard to what they require. They also require a biography, a resume, or a curriculum vitae, whatever you want to call it. Also, the different things that they require 2 years, we could only require 1 year, but the different things you can use to prove residency. Also, this sign bond, which was one of the things I know we've had a problem with signs, so requiring them to post a bond of $500, and then in the event the signs are not removed within X number of days, 30, 60, whatever you guys desire, then the bond gets forfeited to the city. I've still seen some election signs up actually driving around. So, these are things that we could put together into an ordinance and kind of beef up the requirements. Finally, the deputy city attorney and I have been looking at this, but we only require 25 petitions. I can't see where that is in our code. So I don't know if that was by a resolution or how that was done, but that is probably something we should codify as well.
Thank you, City Attorney, for that clarification. So just so I understand and the public understands, with regards to the actual years of residency, that needs to be via charter amendment, which the people will decide on either for a special election or in conjunction with
Your
an
next
election of the commission. With the petitions, is that something that's charter, or could we increase that via ordinance?
I have not been able to find it in your charter. So, and Stacy hasn't been able to find it in the charter, so we don't believe it's there. I do believe it is something that we can change and include this as a residency requirement ordinance for running for an election.
Yeah, I would definitely be in favor. I like Doral format. Obviously, we look at Boca Raton, we look at West Palm Beach, and Doral. All these cities have something in common. You have to prove that you actually live here in the city, right? And I think that should, we get to this point, because of prior situations, but I definitely think we should include that via ordinance swiftly and immediately. And, I would be in favor of putting this on a charter amendment for the next election for the voters to decide. I've gotten a lot of feedback, and I think this would pass in a landslide. I think people want someone that actually lives in their city, knows their city, has invested in their city, cares about the city, not just using this seat as a political stepping stone, which we've seen time and time again, or at least the attempts time and time again. And time again, it doesn't work. So, I would be in favor of having this come back to via ordinance, if it's okay with my colleagues, to include the proof of residency, whether that's the protocol that Boca Raton and West Palm Beach has, which is very simple stuff, lease agreement. I think that needs to be notarized too, because you can go on legal.com and type in your own lease agreement and make something up, right? So I think it needs to be verified by notary. Also, I think we need to look at homestead exemptions as well, right? Because if you own a house, typically you're going to be homestead exemption. I think we can achieve those records. What I'm trying to accomplish is making sure that we don't have fly-by-night candidates coming into our city trying to manage a $300 million budget and make impacts and make decisions that impact the daily lives of people who work hard day in and day out for their quality of life. So, as far as the amount of petitions, I would, like to see what my colleagues say, and, I hope you guys join me in doing this, because I truly think this is, what the residents of the city deserve at the very minimum.
I do have a couple of questions. Even if we do implement these new procedures, is it mean that the city actually does check these out for certain, that there's a verification process instead of them just turning it in?
So Maylee's job is to verify they have the documents. It is not the clerk's job to go and double check to verify it's an actual notary that signed it, or that, and those sorts of things. She's really limited in what she's empowered to do.
Is there any way that can be changed, that it can be verified?
That's by state statute. Certainly the way it works, if someone wants to challenge a candidate, it has to come from either a resident or from someone running against them. It's not something that the city typically challenges.
Interesting.
But I
think if we make it stronger
if we
by
make it
having to
stronger, then it
provide
gives
proof.
basis if this
Right.
situation happens. So before someone goes and spends thousands of dollars hiring an attorney, election attorney, there's merit, right? And also, I think people will think twice before committing fraud.
Right. And the qualifying fee, is that something that's mandated by the state, or municipalities can change that?
Municipality, we may be able to change that, and I didn't look to see if that was in our charter versus how we have that. I would just have to verify that.
And then the only other two questions I have are, I understand 25 petitions, it's too low in my opinion, even though we are district and not at large, you guys are district. Other municipalities still have a higher number, and I think 25 is a pretty weak number to have that for verification. And when it comes to the sign bond issue, is that something that it could be required that the candidate has to put their personal money, not donor money? Because again, it's real easy for somebody to use their donor money, and if they had to put their own money, and could it be more than $500?
It can be whatever you want it to be. It does typically come from the election campaign, because
Okay.
that's something they have to report in their finances.
And then if they were found in violation of that, does it go back to regular election rules that election violations are paid personally, not from campaign funds?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that. I mean, I could look into it. It's not something I can answer. off the
My
top of
thoughts are it's pretty easy for these fly-by-night candidates that we've seen come in and not show up at events and do the 25 petitions and leave their signs out for 60 days. And it's not their money. They don't care. But if it was their money and it was more and it was a personal sign bond, they might think twice about when to get them up as well.
Oh, jeez.
But
Oh, jeez.
let me just say this, that,
Please.
yeah, I like this idea of taking a look at it, but in addition to living in the city, I think they need to live in the city for the duration of the term.
That, if I'm not mistaken, that is,
Because
I
sometimes,
do believe that is in your charter already.
well,
if I'm not
okay, well,
mistaken.
all right, I'll let that go, okay. I do feel that if someone is renting, they should be eligible to run, not necessarily
Right.
Correct.
that they own a home.
They have to
I
remain
can
in their
see-
district, Commissioner, in their
They should have
district.
to live in their district too.
And I don't particularly agree with this one, 2 years. I think 1 year living in the residence, but you put it together and bring it back and we'll fine tune it. But the other comment is that, as far as the petitions are concerned, I do feel 25 is low. I think it ought to be 50. Okay? Those are my comments right now.
Okay, is there a different number you want for the mayor, because they're running at large? Or
Mayor
just-
Shelton, do you have a recommendation?
it.
It's,
That's-
you know, it's fine. I mean, I've worked in my former career in municipalities where we actually did a drive years ago with the clerk of courts, and we had to qualify by petition, and it was 17,000 petitions that I did on a
Whoa.
countywide. So I'm up for a challenge if that's the case. I think it should at least be 100 in a mayor's race. If not more, I think Boca or Del Rey's 200 and change, again, for their mayor and they're at large. So I just think it's an opportunity for people to actually get out and know their community as well. That's why I don't really agree with the 1 year, because it's easier to create some fraudulent documents in a 1 year, but to get a couple of these in a 2 year is a little more challenging, but I'm open to whatever.
So what I'd like to propose, if it's okay, is we do 50 petitions for commissioners and 100 for the mayor. And then ultimately with the 1 year versus 2 year, let's let the voters decide that. You know, we might, what better form of democracy than allowing the people to decide what that should be?
I agree.
And I don't know, I don't know much about referendums, but I'm sure the city, you guys, I don't know how you guys work that out, but I would like to see that at the next commission election on the ballot. And then the other thing, was there something on here about the filing fee?
The qualifying fee, yeah.
The qualifying
we were talking-
fee, correct.
Do we have comparables?
If we go back a slide, please. I don't have them, but I know what I just didn't include them in here, but I can certainly look into that as well. If it is something we can change, is there a dollar amount that this board would like to see
I'd
in an
like to
ordinance?
see other
I
neighboring
want to make a
places.
quick comment if possible.
Sure.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I support the residency requirements. I support increasing the number of petitions for both commissioner and mayor. But what I do not support is precluding people based on their income from running for office. I absolutely do not support that. Thank you.
I'm not sure where that point's made, but whether it's $25 or $50, I don't,
I don't see anything wrong with the $25.
Well, if we're gonna increase the qualifying cards, then maybe we leave the fee as it is. If it's something that, I mean, in the interim, Shauna's gonna research it and see if there's comparables, but.
We want to encourage people to run.
The problem we have is we encourage people to run and they don't participate, and the risk is the taxpayers are going to pay, what, $40,000 to go to runoffs for candidates that don't show up
Right.
anywhere, don't participate, take a lot of money and just toss it around. I mean, look at the last reports on on one of the particular other candidates. It looks like there's just a pass-through of money going through, and that candidate didn't show up anywhere, and the taxpayers would have been paying for a runoff. That's something that we have to start considering is, even in your prior election, there was a runoff. Cost how much money when one of your opponents was questionable on their residency. So I think it's something if we can just all process that and take that in a little bit before making any decisions. But it falls on the taxpayers to pay for runoffs for candidates that don't have really any interest in serving the community or participating. It's not fun being a candidate, but when you have to go out there and you just ignore everyone and raise $40,000 and it gets flushed through and nobody knows why, I just think that there needs to be something that we need to revisit.
I think everyone up here knows the runoff is a strategic move by candidates to dilute the pool. So you basically hurt the lead candidate.
Look, if anybody wants to run, they have to be up for the challenge, but I think it's not fair for other candidates to get out there and participate and show up to the communities and sit there, and other people just pay $25 and say, well, I'm just not going to do that.
Put my name on the ballot.
Yeah, just put my name on the ballot and I'll raise money and Lord knows what I'm doing with the money. And it goes back to, it's up to the candidate or a citizen to bring forth election violations. Well, that's not an easy process for an everyday citizen, so they're supposed to now go get a lawyer and get an election lawyer, which are one of the most expensive lawyers out there. So if we can tighten up this process, it doesn't put it back on the taxpayer all the time. It doesn't put it on a citizen to have to figure out how to file election complaints, which is extremely difficult and expensive.
Yeah, and looking at this at a macro level too, you eliminate gutter clogging the judicial system with these type of things, right? So as, being fiduciaries of our budget and other taxpayers, it needs to be strict. I understand the sentiment, from what was said earlier, I get it, but $25, $50, I mean, a part of this is managing your finances, right? And managing other people's finances. And so you got to be able to do that, and so I think, I just disagree with that sentiment. But again, I would like to see some comparables from other municipalities. But I do want to get consensus today as far as the city attorney's office presenting options for increasing the petitions and the proof of residency requirement, and then some comparables and options for the increase of the filing fee. I know one of the fees are percentage-based on the commission's salary. Is that where we're getting that 25? Okay.
Right. Yes, please.
Okay, so the qualifying fee is 1% of the base salary for the commissioners and the mayor. That goes to the state. That's a state fee that's on the state election laws. The qualifying fee is our fee, which is more like an administrative fee. And then the petitions are 10 cents per petition, and that's a fee that goes to the supervisor of elections office.
So the qualifying fee is an administrative fee, which is $25
That's a
per
state fee.
candidate for the clerk's office to then.
That's a filing fee. That's-
Filing fee,
yeah,
right?
the qualifying
That's the
fee
city's
is the one.
administrative qualifying filing fee. I just went through this, and I see how hard you and Tammy in the clerk's office work, right? Hours and hours spent on this for $25? Are we doing the city a service? Are we doing the clerk's office a service? Are we doing the taxpayers a service for stopping everything we're doing for $25? I don't know. I think there's a conversation to be had there as well.
I think I have a suggestion. Why don't at the next meeting, we could do a quick discussion item. I'll look at some of the other jurisdictions on how many petitions they require, how much the qualifying fee is in other jurisdictions versus a filing fee in other jurisdictions.
Please.
I think we're solid on the petitions,
Yeah.
unless there's something
Okay.
grossly different. But I
No, no,
think
no.
we're agreed. I think
That's
everyone
fine.
had a consensus on
Okay.
that.
So that's fine. And then, once I have that, the city attorney's office can put together a proposed ordinance. The only other thing I would want to mention with regard to a charter amendment, a referendum, is because of the cost of doing that, I do think if we're going to look at any other charter provisions, it's really something we should start doing. And I believe, Maylee, do they have to be to the supervisor of election by November, correct?
Typically, it's by the beginning of December. There's a specific timeframe that it has to be before, to the supervisor of elections office.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I brought this up early, because I don't want to have to pay for a special election. This can piggyback off of the 2026 election for District 4 and District 2. So with that, I think that that charter committee conversation is a separate one, and hopefully we'll discuss that at the next meeting.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. With regard to having something on the ballot for the next election, there's no cost because we already are having an election, correct?
Right.
Okay, you're correct.
Okay. I do have a small concern with that, and I don't know if my colleagues share that. As we saw in the last election, turnout was extremely low. We had about 46,000, I think, registered voters in the city, about over 80,000 residents, and only, I believe, if I remember correctly, under 6,000 people voted. Turnout is very low, even in elections where we have the mayor and the ballot. So my concern following this coming election for District 2 and District 4 is that we don't have the mayor on the ballot. We don't have any larger scale elections where my fear is that we're going to have a very small percentage of the population making this decision. And I mean, I'm sure everybody understands this and can see the data from the last election, but I do have a concern that we're not going to get the ideal scenario to really try to get everybody's voices heard because of the issue with the turnout. That's my concern.
Mayor, if I may, I'm glad you brought up data, Commissioner Cruz, because in District 3, there was actually a higher turnout than you saw in 2022. So I think it's all about communication, like you mentioned, right? And that's something that is our responsibility as elected officials, to make sure that the community knows what's going on, right? And so I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. I think it's our duty to talk to our community leaders throughout not just our district, but the community as a whole, to let them know what's on the ballot, right? We live in an age where technology is a double-edged sword. You can have misinformation spread quickly, or you can utilize those platforms to educate the public. And so, yeah, I look forward to discussing this, and, I look forward to what the city attorney has moving forward.
Yeah, it's good with regard to technology, and I do agree with that. Misinformation can be spread very quickly with technology. At the same time, a lot of our seniors are not always as tech savvy as the younger folks. So I do still have that concern. The issue with turnout, obviously, with your district, it was different, but with regard to the city as a whole, turnout was very low, and it always is for municipals, but it was even lower in this election. So I do have that concern with turnout, and it's not because they're not informed. It's because sometimes it's also voter sentiment, and it has a lot to do with that as well. So we could do it, we could educate people, but if they don't turn out, then it's their choice as well.
Yeah, and
I do think it does come down to the city being more proactive. It was not on the digital billboards that there was an election. Not trying to throw any shade, but people didn't know. It's up to the candidates, and it's also up to our supervisor of elections. to get out earlier in the game. But if this is something that we wait 3 years until there's a mayor race, well, if there's 4 people in the other 2 districts next year and it runs off, then again, taxpayers are paying maybe $25,000 that year, and it's just going to continue and continue. So I think that it's also up to us as electeds to get into our districts and start notifying them early on instead of just remaining silent through the election process. That's all I have to say. David, do you have a comment that you could keep it short and sweet?
Thank you, David Katz. I'll try.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
There has to be a
sorry.
consensus for
Do I have a
public comment on the
consensus
item.
for a public comment?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm good, I'm okay.
That's fine.
I just want to say, new mayor, new look. Anyway, yeah, with all due respect to Commissioner Cruz, this has got to be done now. I mean, we had an election in District 2 where that gentleman, he did not live in the city, and it was proven, but nothing could be done about it. We just had an election in District 3 with a gentleman who ran against the incumbent. He did not live in this city for a full year before qualifying. It was known, but because of the city clerk just being ministerial, we couldn't do anything about it. And I think that most people, if you ask them, reasonable people would say the residency requirement should be 3 years, but we'll take 2, but it's got to stop being at 1. It's got to stop being at 1. The other thing is the bond for the sign. I know that I've done campaigns that were in Boca where there's a $500 bond that needs to be posted. I don't remember if it was a personal one or from the campaign. I think unless it's statutorily impossible to do it, I think should be from a personal account. That way that candidate will make sure those signs get taken care of. And the signs that are still up are in a fenced-in area that the candidates can't get to, and if they took the fence down or opened it up, I'm sure the candidates would be more than happy to take them down. But you got to move forward in this. It's a crime to have people run for office who don't live in the city, or maybe while they're in office, move to Abacoa. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Next, please, Susan.
You make me laugh. David, Susan Oyer, Boynton Beach. Gosh, he's funny. So, he is. So I think you guys aren't even making this hard enough. I've been an advocate all along. We need to go 5 years of residency. You need to actually live in this city and know this city and know more than the mall and know more than the beach. You need to have some hardcore time in our city. And I think you also should have voted in the last, pick a number, 2 to 5 elections, and whether they were city, national, state, whatever it is. But I think you should be an active registered voter. And I think if you're going to be an elected, why the heck are you not a voter? And I think that came up with our prior mayor, who had never voted in an election in his life till he actually ran. So that needs to be something, just like Del Rey, the last I understand, they made mandatory voting in the last 2 elections for their board members to be on a board. And I think that too, which I guess I'll be back up here again in a few minutes. The filing fee, yes, it needs to be more. I mean, you need to have a vested interest in this. And again, no more fly-by-night. I mean, if you want to do 50 and 100, that's fine. Or even go higher, because you know what? You need to want this. And, have your friends hand you, have a party. Have everybody bring you $1 if that's what it takes, so you can walk in with some money. I mean, I just think you need to have skin in this game, and it definitely needs to be more than 25 petitions. I do like the idea of the 50 and the 100 for the mayor. I think that's a great idea. Or even going 200, because that's from each district. Maybe doing 50 in each district. So that the person who's running for mayor is actually known in each of those districts. And I don't think, when you look at the petitions, I don't think they should all be from the same neighborhood. I think it should be representative of your district. So don't have 50 of your neighbors filling out your petition. Go to at least, for example, 3 different neighborhoods in your district when you turn these in. And I think we need to be doing something so that this is more actively checked and challenged, because this is embarrassing when I run into friends in other cities that go, we hear your mayor lives in XYZ city. It's like, yeah, and it's the worst kept secret in Boynton Beach. So I think we really need to be toughening this up, and the more forms of residency you require, the better off you're going to be, because if you live here, then you should have all of this, and it shouldn't be a problem. So make 5, 6, 10 things required. Don't make 1 or 2. Thank you.
Great. Next, please.
Good evening. Jim Sizik, Boynton Beach. I just, sidebar comment, I just think that worrying about the filing fee is kind of an affront. I think that you don't know the quality of the individuals, you don't know their financial responsibilities, their abilities. I think to even consider that, if there's a statutory requirement that cites a certain dollar amount that has to come in for somebody to qualify a filing fee, leave it at that. Leave it at that. You want to worry about wasting too much money on taxpayer dollars if we're going to have a runoff or anything like that, burden them. Go for 200 votes to sign. Really damper somebody to really show that they are a true candidate. 2 years as a minimum. 5 years, I understand the passion behind that, but I think 2 years and then blanket them with several things proving that they've been here, that they have it, but don't go after a dollar amount, because I think a dollar amount, it's such a petty thing. If you can make $200, you got backers, whether or not you believe that it comes out of personal funds or not. I think you should force the individual to prove that the weight of their candidacy comes from other residents that believe in them. And if they can't get that, then you can't run.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now we are going to move on to item E. Discussion was requested by Commissioner Turkin. If you'd like to begin the discussion. Continued service on the advisory board, to waiver process to allow continued service.
Yes, I would, and this is an option that I think Sean and I had talked about that's not as convoluted as revisiting everything, but allowing a waiver provision for the commission to decide if we want to extend a waiver provision for like the term limits for residents who live in the city. And I had a member from Parks Advisory, served on there, I think 20-something years, been in the city, since she was a kid, and she just wants to help. She wants to serve, right? And, I think there should be a mechanism where we could have a case-by-case situation for the commission to decide, hey, we'll do a waiver for this individual while we do maintain some sort of regulation. So, yeah, that's the whole idea of this, just to provide a mechanism for the commission to make a decision if they, did decide to move forward with someone who's already shown dedicated service and lives in the city, to continue serving on the advisory board.
Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner Turkin. I support that I think with conditions, because what I don't want to see is then we get into the point where we're approving so many waivers that then we go, why do we even have term limits at that point? Why are we even, because the whole point of starting the term limits was to allow an opportunity for a position to be vacant so that somebody else would have an opportunity that wouldn't otherwise maybe have the opportunity, because the person who had served for many years, name would be known to the commission and would just automatically reappoint them, as opposed to giving somebody else a shot who wants to serve and who's, lived in the city and is invested in the city. So I'm comfortable with a waiver process as long as it's something that actually comes before us, as opposed to it just they're being able to just become a name on the advisory board. Because what we've seen happen is we just look at a list and we pick a name. And so there's not any continuity to that. And so I want, if that's something that we're going to establish, then I would want there to be, it actually is a separate item where there's a discussion about that under the advisory boards, of course, but that there's more discussion as opposed to that name just being placed back on the calendar in the fold. I think also the time period is a year for them to sit out. We could even reduce that. I don't know. I mean, there are other things that maybe we can do. But and that would apply for city residents also. That if you're a city resident, you can ask for a waiver. I don't want to get in a habit where, there are some boards that I think we open it up to not being city residents, but I think that that's something that if we are giving a waiver, that they have to be a resident of the city too to get that waiver.
I
Those would be my
wholeheartedly agree with
concerns.
those conditions. Yeah, I understand the logic. That makes sense to me.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Hay, any comments?
Yes. I guess I want to avoid having a vacant board because someone is termed out and we don't have any candidates. We don't have a long line of people for these boards. I can't remember the last time all the boards were filled. I was informed by Susan Oyer last night that we had one time. But the point is that we have a challenge trying to get people to serve. And because of that, I have no problem in someone serving past whatever term limit they have if we don't have other candidates standing in line to take that position. We don't have that type of knowledge when we're looking at that list. I don't know how much effort that would take to let us know that this person has served their limit. And my feeling is if there's no other person in that category, in that queue, then that person should be allowed, if they have done a good job and we don't have any problem with them, they should be allowed to serve beyond the term limit. Because I look at this list and just every time I look around, there's no candidates, no candidates, no candidates. We need to do something to encourage our people to serve. We need to give some type of synthesize of that service. So I just feel that we need to take that into consideration and get more information so we can move these boards ahead because they're there to advise us and help us to make the proper decision. So I don't have a problem with going over the extended term limit.
Sorry, just one more point. Vice Mayor Hay, you just kind of briefly touched on it, but I think, and I, in speaking with residents over the last year or so, and mentioning advisory boards and vacancies, nobody has any idea what I'm even talking about. And so I think one of the things that we can do as a city that we have failed to do is really push out that we have such a thing as an advisory board, because I think our residents really do want to participate. The ones that I have spoken to about it have gone on and applied and are now sitting on the boards. So I think we also have really failed at advertising and pushing out the volunteer opportunities that we do have. If you don't want to sit on an advisory board, we have other volunteer opportunities. If you want to sit on an advisory board, here's the information. This is where our vacancies are. And I think that that's where we really have failed to push out the boards and to push out the need. Because at the end of the day, I've sat on a bunch of boards, and some of them you are really helpful to the board that you're serving, but then some you're really not doing anything. And so then it also becomes why am I going and why am I serving if I'm not really doing anything either? But I think the city as a whole can do a better job of pushing out our advisory boards. Like I said, I've spoken to numerous people who had no idea that we even had such boards and have then since gone on to apply and be on these boards. So I think that we can change that narrative too by really just pushing out that, through our PIO or through different departments, these boards.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth, Commissioner Kelly. And then also too, we did it one year, but I don't think we did it this past year, is where we had the
recognition.
The recognition for all the advisory board members.
Right.
I know we've been, we brought that up last time it was done, it wasn't done, so maybe that's our accountability component for this upcoming budget, is make sure that we discuss that. So I think that's important, right? A lot of these a lot of these residents, they dedicate a lot of time and it's not paid. And, I think it'd be nice to, have the public, recognize them.
One question, are all of the boards during the day or are some of these at night?
Some are at
Okay,
night.
just because it's very hard for people to participate when it's a Monday at 1 o'clock. I mean, I was able to do that because my work schedule's flexible, but I think it's also publicizing when those meetings, because there's the misconception that these things are always taking place during, when people are working, and they might gravitate to boards if they know that it's something they can fit into their schedule.
That's actually a great point. And so what, who dictates the
Vice
time?
Mayor Hare has a comment.
No, it's not really a question or anything. I just wanted to agree with Commissioner Turkin on that, having that dinner or whatever you want to call it, recognition of our committees that we have in the city. I remember when we had that before, the excitement level was unbelievable because they looked forward to that. Know that we showed appreciation for their service. That's the least that we could do. And in that, at that dinner, certain people were recognized for whatever, got little plaques or whatever, and it was very nice. I know because of the economy went south, we had to kind of back off of that, but I think we have recovered to the degree that we can crank that up again. And it would be something that that would really motivate, I think, more applicants to participate on our committees. Just want to agree with you 110%, okay?
Yeah. Or even, and that, and like maybe incentivize, like, if you're on an advisory board, you get a Taste of Boynton ticket or something, I don't know. You know what I mean? Something like that, like incentivize getting on the boards, but I think looking at the time is a big thing too.
Okay. So what's the next move?
Yeah, there's one thing I want to bring up, and this is basically with Gabby. Currently, we have 51 events on the books. We've looked at adding maybe a TPA event in addition to that, and now the advisory board event. So I just want the commission to understand that there's a lot of work, time and money that goes into prepping these events, and the bandwidth of staff is only so much. So I would actually maybe look at an alternative or a strategic approach to maybe combining some of the events with our First Friday, like monthly First Friday events that we had, that maybe we can combine something with our advisory board recognition, and if we do want to give out any sort of certificates and things like that, or doing something to where we can actually maybe look at moving some of those events together, just to take some of the pressure off the events team. And they're great.
Okay,
I mean,
sure.
I'm still getting people talking about the drone show that they saw from I-95.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
yeah.
what we could do is even like a pre-event reception or something where at First Friday or at a different event, we host a
Yes.
reception before the event for the advisory boards and, and that sort of thing. So that's maybe something we can do where we're not creating a whole separate event, but we're still providing that recognition for them. Okay.
Okay.
Is there a consensus as to direction for staff?
Yes, for the waiver provision.
Yes.
That will have to be added into the ordinance, so I will take a look at that as well.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. And F, there's a request to have a joint meeting with the Community Redevelopment Agency to discuss the pending legislation related to the CRA. Does staff have time and dates that they are proposing for a joint meeting?
Yeah, just regurgitating what I mentioned on Thursday.
Yeah.
Everything going on in Tallahassee, the strategic plan, the city and the CRA should be working together to accomplish these goals. And because our funding could be limited, I would like to hold a joint meeting between both bodies so we can have this discussion in an open matter.
Great.
And when that is, when, I guess we have to go back to the, how does that work?
No, I believe that we can call the meeting, we notify them, that's what we did last time. They just published their agenda today, so if it's something we want to do at their next meeting, then we would just add that to the beginning of their meeting and ask them to renotice it.
As far as setting a date with the CRA board?
Yeah, I don't know how quickly you want to do it, if this month or next month.
I think it would probably be easier if the city just joined at the CRA board meeting, and maybe we could do it then. I
Next
mean,
week?
Yeah, the
I'm
next
fine with-
meeting is on Tuesday for the CRA.
sooner the better.
Okay.
Next week.
Okay.
And we'll add that to, I'll get in touch with Catherine to have that done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And G,
Yes, G, about the conferences that Commissioner Turkin added.
so just discussion for
I have a
FLC, NLC.
I don't have a G.
I guess what I'm looking for is just consensus for us to start looking at who wants to go to the one FLC in August, and then NLC is outside the budget year, I guess. But
Yeah,
to
'cause it's
make sure
November.
that and this is something we attend annually, but I want to make sure we do this in a cost-effective manner with the early bird special.
Yes.
What's the date on that? Do we know? November? something?
FLC, I think, is August, and it's in Orlando this year.
Yes.
The 12th, let me see.
Let me see, I can-
Yeah, NLC, I'm not sure.
I'll
I think
look
it's
right now.
November.
Yep.
NLC is, and I think NLC was in Tampa. I'm not sure where it's going to be this year.
It's in Salt Lake City.
Oh, it's in Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
November
NLC's in
21st.
Salt Lake City.
No, it's, hang
And
on one second.
while we're waiting for that, when I first got on the commission 3 years ago, Vice Mayor Hayes said, I would go to as many of these as you can.
Absolutely.
Because they're very informative, and I'm going to pass that information to you, Madam Mayor. I'd go as many as you can, because they're very informative, and it's really eye-opening to see what other municipalities do. As far as process, sometimes we operate, and we're coned in with information, so it's good to expand that horizon.
I guess the mayor's going to be going to Utah quite a bit because the pension conference is in Park City.
Yeah.
November.
It's in September.
The 19th through the 22nd.
I will, yes, I will be going to that one and
Yes.
the September one. I
August.
think.
Yeah.
What's the date on September?
August, it's the, oh, that.
But just to let you know, I'll be going to
Yes, I'll be
NLC.
going to FLC and I'll be going to NLC this year. And I'll throw in an FRA conference too. We'll talk about
FRA's
that
here
here.
in West
Do any of
Palm.
those conflict with any of our
Doesn't
meetings?
interfere with Thanksgiving.
Usually, yeah,
I want to say FLC, I think does. NLC is usually like that Wednesday.
yeah, NLC is the 19th of November, so it's not gonna,
Yeah.
I don't.
And then the FRA will discuss it. this
That one
year.
will, because we have a meeting on November 18th, so we'll have to, usually, we'll look at the travel dates
Okay.
on both of those.
So I know last year you guys will bring back, adjustments to the commission schedule. Maybe we can do that. Because I know we have to do that with the budget anyways.
Yeah,
We'll get it taken care of.
I'm sure.
When's the early bird you said on that?
I think it starts in like May.
Starts in May?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't, like, if people decide to go last minute, I'd just rather get ahead of this so,
Understood.
we're not paying more than we should.
Right.
So, how many of you guys, I guess do you want to check your schedules or,
No, I'll
and
be
just get with us individually via
Yeah.
email?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay,
That's it.
and that's it. Does anybody have any final comments for tonight? If not, may we have a
Well,
motion? Go for it.
I just want to say that when we look at the applicants for example, the historical preservation, that we look for specific job types, not just random applicants.
Agree.
That
in
really
our-
need to be taken under consideration.
I think that should be with any position moving forward.
True.
That it's a proven track record.
True.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
particularly
That they've done
that
it
one.
somewhere before.
But
and succeeded.
on that board, we do have, there are requirements that's in the ordinance that says that they, we have some, if we can get them, we have them, whether that be I think one is like an engineer, one is a planner, one is, so we have that. But then there's always that, if possible, clause. But I know that's written into a couple of them where we have those set in there, so, but just double check that, Shauna, make sure.
Okay, I
think
will.
that's-
Okay.
That's it.
Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Second.
Okay, so you guys are on it.
Good job, Madam Mayor.
We have Vice Mayor. Yes, okay, where it's over. Definitely need the